welcome to another episode of Asexualise, my asexual life. This is a place to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual. I share my own asexual life journey in order to help you in yours. If you haven't already subscribed, hit that great big subscribe button right here right now. Please hit that bell icon so you get notified of every time I go live like now, post a new video. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you find the content useful, helpful, insightful in any way, shape or form, or you just want to give this channel some like love. I really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. So in a moment we're going to be discussing do not go into the battlefield before you've even started. And yes, this video is to do with asexuality, dating and relationships. And if you're just curious to know more, keep watching because all will be revealed. But first of all, if you didn't know who I am Sandra Bellamy, author of this awesome Asexual Perspectives 47 Asexual Stories book, and that link is down below in the description. I'm also an asexuality coach and I specialise in dating and relationships. So in today's video, we're going to be discussing don't go into the battlefield before you've even started. And what do I mean by this, right? You might know that recently I had interest in a British guy and that didn't work out. And it's very interesting because that particular British guy, he liked an older woman but was non-committal. Now, most older women, unless they're looking for a booty call or just a bit of a, guys to toy around with sexually, most older women want to settle down. They want commitment. They know exactly what they want. So they're looking for a guy who knows what he wants, who's strong, who can take care of himself, but who also can look after her at the same time and, kind of like step up to the plate, be a strong guy for her and, come and see her, show her off to his family and all the rest of it. And obviously, most older, I mean, I'm older, but not older. I'm very young for my birth certificate age, really young. But if you're talking about like, in terms of like, where I'm at in terms of like commitment, commitment's a very big thing to me. I don't believe in getting into a relationship unless you're going to be committed to someone. There's no point. I don't believe in wasting my time. I'd rather go to clubs, kiss some guys who I know are non-committal, just kissing them in the club, not having anything more to do with them, than have an ongoing type of non-relationship with a guy who can't commit, right? To me that's a frigging waste of time and it hurts, right? Whereas if I go to club, kiss some guys, I don't really get emotionally attached to them. And so, well, not like I used to. In the past, I did used to get a bit emotionally attached to them as well, but I'm a lot better on that now. So I've trained myself well. So, obviously I can't kiss guys in clubs at the moment with social distancing. Clubs are shut. So when I'm recording this in November 2020. Anyway, so it's very important that you establish early on if the person is committal or non-committal. Like I made the mistake last time of not actually asking the guy, like, are you looking for commitment? But I did actually ask him. That's not totally true because I did actually say to him, I'm looking for a serious relationship. And he said he was too. Now, a serious relationship does mean you're committed to a person. So I did actually ask him that. But maybe I think next time I just need to ask a guy, is he actually the type who wants to commit to someone? Is that what he's looking for, to commit to and settling down? That's what I learned from the last experience, if you like. And I also learned from the last experience that, if someone says to you initially that maybe you're not the right person for them, but they don't say it in those words, then that's a really important point to listen to. So with the last British guy that I was really interested in, he said, when we were just talking as friends that, like about me and him, because I knew that he was interested in me, that, I could meet a girl nearer me, right? And he could possibly be with a sexual girl as well, because he's on the more sexual end of the asexual spectrum. So this did really hurt my feelings, because at the end of the day, I thought if you really like someone, you shouldn't even be thinking about other women near you, other people near you, because the whole point is if you like that person, it don't matter about where they live, in terms of you wouldn't be thinking about someone else. So that really kind of made me distrust the person was interested in me that much, even though after that they showed a lot of interest. And then they did apologize later and say, I'm only interested in you, Sandra, which was nice. But at the end of the day, kind of the damage was done, if you know what I mean, because it's like, well, that's what you really want. You want someone nearer you. And at the end of what happened, it pretty much that person did want someone nearer them. So you don't want to be entering the battlefield before you've even started. And what I mean by the battlefield is if you have to convince someone that you are a suitable person for them to be in a relationship with, possibly, then you are battling already. You are like going into a situation where it's an uphill battle. You're trying to convince someone that you would be possibly good for them to be in a relationship with, and you shouldn't be having to convince anyone, because if that's the case, they're not really valuing your worth, right? So with this in mind, I spoke to a couple of British guys recently. One was on ASAP, and I could tell that he was really sorry, that's my Mac. I could tell that his attention was elsewhere. So I thought, this is no good, because I need a guy who's going to pay me attention and actually be interested in me. So that was that parked. And then I went on a dating site for asexuals, and I did message this guy that didn't look bad looking. He lives not too far from me, a couple of hours on the train, so which isn't too far on the asexual land. And anyway, but basically I messaged him, and his response was, I wouldn't mind paying some attention to your birth age, but it doesn't overly bother me unless there's a big gap. I think I'd prefer to be with someone younger, but I'm not opposed to messaging elsewhere and go from there. Right? Now, if someone says this to you, which is what he said to me, clearly he's already thinking he preferred to be with someone younger. So there is absolutely no point in me then carrying on trying to engage in conversation with him, because he's already told me he thinks he preferred to be with someone younger. So that would be like me going into a battlefield. It'd be like me trying to convince him that I would be a good possibility for him, because he's already said that he thinks he preferred to be with someone else. So this is like, it would be like going into battlefield. It'd be an uphill battle trying to convince this guy otherwise, right? And, you know, and then he said, I'm not opposed to messaging and see where and go from there. It's a very casual thing. It's not like he was saying to me, oh, you know, I haven't considered an older girl before, but I've read your profile. I'm really interested in you and want to know more about you. You know, it's not that. It's like, I'm not opposed to messaging, which means he's trying to push himself to do it, and go from there. Is a very casual tone. It's like, I'm not really that bothered, but I don't mind messaging you and see where it goes. It's very casual, very non-committal, actually, and very not really interested. So I said, thanks for your reply and being honest about preferring someone younger in birth certificate age. If that's the case, then you should definitely go for that. I want a guy to want me for who I am, and in theory, like being with an older girl, but I realise I'm super young. I'm too young for some guys in their 20s sometimes, right? And I put exactly what I'm looking for, a serious and committed relationship with a younger guy. And I usually prefer guys in their 20s, but they don't always know what they want. And what attracted me to this particular guy's profile is he wanted to settle down, right? So, but I said that my idea of settling down might be different. And I live like a teenager and love it. And I want a serious and committed relationship. I like living on my own and like a loved up teenager style relationship 24/7 without living with the person, as I prefer to live on my own. And I like going clubbing to my local club that pays for it, music, Disney and Pixar movies, here at superhero movies, going to theme parks, zoos, aquariums. I'm also a business girl and not into doing housework for a guy. You know, and I said I am on Skype and Facebook, but you want a younger birth certificate age girl, and I'm not interested in my birth certificate age whatsoever. And I put wish you the best of luck, because I've learned from the past scenarios that if a guy is saying stuff like that already, he's no good, right? I shouldn't have to do any convincing that person I might be good for, right? If I have to do that, then clearly I'm not the right person for them. And then he did say, by the sounds of it, you may be too young for me, and that he has got different ideas of settling down. And he's looking for a more chilled lifestyle than a loved up teenager lifestyle. And, you know, the passionate tonkis and constant communication and someone to share literally every aspect of their life isn't compatible, as they like their own space. But I like my own space, but physically, but emotionally, I like to be connected with a person. I like to share, you know, life goals, ambitions, dreams, and, you know, my world for that person. I want to looking for my a best friend, a soulmate, you know, as well as a life partner. And that's really important. At the end of the day, if a person can't share all aspects of their life with you, it's kind of like, what are you hiding, you know? Because a person can have their own physical space, they can go and do their own thing, but in order to develop and grow a serious committed relationship, you need to share things. You need to share your goals, ambitions and dreams of where you're going in life. You need to share your hopes. You need to share what you like, what you don't like, right? Obviously I have my friends and I would expect them to have their own. So yeah. But I said, thanks for getting back and reassure me you're not you are not my guy. I like my own space in terms of living separate, but yes, I do like to share every other aspect of my life as best friends and soulmates with my special guy. And I am probably way too young for you. I do have a hyper personality. Sorry, I put a very hyper bubbly and energetic personality and love it that way. And my room looks like a teenager's bedroom. It's ace. So, you know, I'm really happy that at the end of the day, that's all done and dusted now. You know what I mean? You know, I did the right thing. But what I'm saying is, you know what I mean? You do not want to go into this battlefield before you've even started. A love and relationship shouldn't be this battle before, you know what I mean? You're going to have some times when you're looking to date or be in a relationship where it's going to be difficult, but it should be difficult for you both together, as in like, oh, like trying to work out how to see each other, trying to work out how to fit times in each other, you know, like difficult as in like difficult together, not difficult as in, you know, oh, well, I'm not sure I really want you. You know, it's just ridiculous. So if a person's like that, if they're saying anything to begin with, like, you're not really my type, just let them go. Just let these people go, because they are not the right person for you to even consider being in a relationship with. You know, I made that mistake last time, you know, and I wish the person the best of luck, the last guy, you know, which is the one I'm still getting over anyway, really. So you know, I thought it was different with the other guy, last guy, because I thought we had a special connection, and I kind of like listened to what he said, that, you know, he's sorry about that. But at the end of the day, you know, I think he still wants someone living near him, and good luck to him. That's what I say, you know. But I've learnt my lesson. There's no point in actually even going there for a potential relationship if the person's already said, but this, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, you know, the right guy will know that I'm really good for him. I won't have to like convince or suggest anything like that. He'll just be like, wow, you've turned up in my life. You're what I want. You're what I'm looking for. Let me get to know you more. And I'm really interested seriously about you, you know? I can't be doing with this, like, you know, non-committal, like, oh, possible rubbish, you know? It's like, with me, I'm very actually black and white most of the time, you know? And it's like, you know, you're either interested in me or you're not. If you're not, just move on and don't waste the hell of my time, you know? And, you know, I don't want to waste their time either. The last thing I want to do is going on in a conversation, wasting their time and wasting my time. There's no point. Life is too frigging short, you know? So, you know, if you have got someone on an asexual dating site or any dating site, and they're not really sure you're their type of person, just leave that person alone. Just say, that's fine, appreciate you're not sure, I need someone who's dead sure of what they want, and obviously you're not sure about me, so I'm not the right person for you, and let's move on, you know? Because there's absolutely no point, you know, in dragging things out. Life is just so precious and so short. And the last thing you want to be doing is in any way, shape, or form having to convince someone, you know? Like, I live a very different lifestyle to other people, you know? I do live a very, very teenager lifestyle. I'm high octane energy. I love being that way. Actually, I'm more like this when I'm single, because I'm happier being single, really, which is like, Sandra, why do you really want a relationship? Maybe I don't need a relationship, actually. Well, I don't really need one, but I do miss kissing. I think when the clubs open back up again, months and months later, maybe I'll just go back to kissing whatever guys I want, and then that kissing needs taken care of, and I don't even need to bother with a relationship unless my Indian soulmate happens to turn up, because I am still convinced that I do have an Indian asexual soulmate out there. I'm just convinced of it. So I think I have a foreign one at least, you know. Yeah, but I guess there's lots of stuff I need to do in my own life, you know. I do miss kissing. I so love kissing. I really miss it at the moment. I'm very kissing frustrated. It's like, I want to kiss. I don't just want to kiss anyone. I want to kiss a young foreign guy. Indian, preferably. You know, really, truly I do. So maybe it's just like I shouldn't even be giving any chances or any thoughts to British guys, because, you know, I guess that's not really what I want long term in, like, honestly, I prefer to be with a foreign guy, you know. I just, like, when I went to Nando's for my self date, I went for a self date last week, right, a week ago today, in Nando's, which is a chicken restaurant in the UK, and there's this foreign guy that I've been attracted to before, but he smokes, so I couldn't be with him anyway, and he's got a girlfriend, or he did have, and he goes to the same club as me as well, right? but I did speak to him in there just as a person who was in their restaurant. And I was saying I really miss clubbing so much because he goes to the same club as me. Because I said to him, because he had a mask on, I said, "You are the person who goes to the same club as me, aren't you?" And he's like, "Yeah, I am." Because it's harder to tell him behind the mask, but I thought I can tell him. And he's got the most gorgeous voice. I'm like, oh my God, you've got the most gorgeous foreign voice to die for. I really love your voice. And so he was really missing clubbing as well. And he was telling me that when it first opened up, it did open up for 2 weeks, and you could book a table with you and your friends and just dance around the table. Or well, he said on the table. I said, on the table what? Like stand on the table? I said, I should have been there if that was the case. He's like, no, like around it. Or when you're sat down, just dance on the spot, like social distance. I'm like, oh right, I missed that. Shame. But you know, my friends don't live next to anyway, so I'd be dancing on the table on my own. It's funny. But you know, I've met some guys in the clubs that are not too good, and I've met some really polite guys. Like one of the guys I remember in the club, I told you about him, and he just like all of a sudden grew out, you know, like put his arm, my arm through his to take me out of the crowd, you know, because I was getting a bit like lost and with all the people, and I'm like, oh, I need to get out here. And he was telling me he worked in a hotel, and he was really sweet. So, you know, there are some nice people out there, nice guys. So, yeah, you know, I mean, it's just difficult, I think, for anyone, not just asexuals. I think it's difficult for any sexuality to find a long-term committed relationship that actually works. You know, a lot of people, they do want different things in a relationship. You know, it's hard to get hobbies and interests to match. It's hard to get like personalities to line up and be compatible. It's, you know, people have different boundaries, people have different physical needs. It's like I really need a load of kissing, and a lot of asexual guys are just really not that into kissing. You know, the majority that I come across aren't that into kissing unless they're on the more sexual end of the asexual spectrum, and usually they want clothes off and touch more, and it's like, oh, can't be doing with that. So, you know, it is very difficult, but, you know, I just want you to remember your worth. I want you to walk away from anyone who's unsure about you in the beginning, because at the end of the day, if they're unsure about you in the beginning, what the hell are they going to be like 3 or 4 months down the line? They're going to be like even more confused. And you don't want to be in a situation when you've given your heart, soul, and emotions to someone and they basically crush it, even if they don't mean to. So, you know, I'd really recommend, like, you know, just finding someone who loves you for who you are. You know, I want someone to love me for who I am, not someone who I have to convince that I'm the right person for. Like, I know there's a guy out there that absolutely adore my personality, because he'll be like, oh my God, you're so much fun to be around. Like, I just get bored with other women, but you're so fun to be around and different, and I really love that about you, you know. So I've really got to find a guy who first and foremost loves my personality more than anything in the world, and secondly likes my looks. You know, I do want him to like my looks. Don't get me wrong. I like to be called pretty and gorgeous and all the rest of it. Some asexuals don't like that. They're like, oh, I don't like being paid attention to. I like attention. I like attention to my looks, my personality, and I do. You know, I do need a guy who's absolutely into me in a really nice, non-controlling way. You know, who still, you know, like is able to look after himself, still has his own friends, still does his own hobbies and interests, but really is like sharing his day and life and world with me, you know, because most asexuals will end up in a long distance relationship, or a relationship where the guy doesn't actually live near them the majority of the time. You know, I mean, it'd be great. There must be an asexual guy who's Indian in my city somewhere. Do you know what I mean? My city's really big. But I find a lot of the Indian guys that are over in the UK, the majority of them are just over to study, and then they just go back to their country. So that's no good. And the ones so far that I've met in my club, 3 of them, they're all sexual, really sexual. It's really weird because there was an Indian guy quite some months ago that I connected with on Facebook, and I thought with the way he was talking and supporting the asexuality that he was like actually not that sexual. And then he didn't speak to me for 2 months, and then he started talking to me again, and I said, oh, I did at one point think that you might be my soulmate, and he's like, oh, no way, because I'm the opposite of you. I'm like a hypersexual. And he said, you must have known that. I said, no, I didn't actually. That's not the type of impression you were giving me. Right. And he's like, oh, I'm non-committal as well. I thought, oh, another one. I just keep attracting non-committal guys. So maybe it's just because I need to be non-committal myself for a while and not even bother looking for a relationship, you know, and just plow my energies into other things. I think with the kissing, it makes me crave a relationship more, whereas really maybe it's just the kissing that I really need and want. But I don't want to get involved with a guy and kiss him. I don't want friends with benefits. I'd rather just go to a club when they're open again and just kiss some guys and then go home. I don't want to get involved emotionally with any guys because it hurts. And a long time I do want a serious committed relationship. I don't believe in like casual relationships, like going on and on for months. It's a waste of my frigging life, and I do wear my heart on my sleeve and I do get emotionally attached easily. It's the truth. So I'd rather just stay single and be happy and carry on my teenager lifestyle and have so much fun in my life. It's much better. And I guess I'm still figuring out all my business stuff. I'm still figuring out all my career type stuff. I've got a full-time job now. So regular income again, which is handy. But it's really strange going back into full-time employment after being home for 3 years. I prefer being home really most of the time, but I am extroverted, so I do like to get out somewhat as well. So again, like I'm an extrovert with some introverted tendencies. So, and sometimes like when I'm at work, I find it difficult now because I'm used to being at home, like trying to concentrate on my own. When I've got other people around me now, it's like I can't really concentrate. I prefer to go in a quiet room by myself and read stuff and research, than be amongst people sometimes. So I think in some ways I might have become a bit more introverted being at home for 3 years on my own, and then other times I'm just like, I want to get out and see someone. So it's kind of like very interesting, isn't it? But whatever you do in life, please remember your worth. You are very valuable. You're a very beautiful person, and find someone who really really cares about you and loves you for who you are, and see you might end up with someone who originally is not exactly how you pictured them to be, but like I don't think you should rule out absolutely everyone who's different to who you imagine, because I think sometimes like I've been around some people who have met their soulmate, but their soulmate's a little bit different to how they expected them to be, a little bit like something's different about them. So I think like I don't rule it out completely, but I think it's really important to know exactly what you want, And the weird thing about that glass guy I talked about, who did admit that I'm probably too young for him, he's looking for different things. He didn't read my profile initially. Like when I messaged him, clearly he read it like after the last message I sent him, not the first. And if someone's interested in you, they would actually read your message, read your profile and start talking about it. Someone's really interested in you, they would actually, like, for me, if I was interested and I saw someone who had a YouTube show, had a website, because I put that in this particular profile, then I'd be checking out the website, checking out the person on YouTube and seeing if I actually like them and what I think of them. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't like be messaging back someone blindly and not even reading their profile. That's not someone who cares. That's someone who's just like, oh, well, you happen to show up, so I might give you a chance. But really, I'm not that interested in you. Do you know what I mean? And so it's not nice. So we just have to value our worth enough to walk away and know there's another person that's not right for us, move on. And this is kind of how dating relationships go. It's a process of elimination. I mean, even when you're looking for a really good friend, you're going to have to go through a lot of people that aren't going to be a good friend to you, that aren't really going to give you the kind of attention and time that you need. You need a person who's going to, or people to be your friends who are gonna compliment you. Like I've got different friends. Oh, thank you for the thumbs up. That's love. I've got different friends. I've got one female friend who doesn't contact me that much. Like I'm lucky if I hear from her once every 2 weeks, really. And then I've got my asexual best friend Sam, and they are in regular contact with me, and I really love them as my friend for that, because I do like that contact. I feel like I'm special and meaningful in life. I'm special to myself, but it's nice when you're thought that much that people check in with you regularly to see if you're all right. Do you know what I mean? I really like that about them. I think, I really feel that they value me as a friend and they want to know that I'm okay. That's very important to me. I didn't have that years ago. Do you know what I mean? So if it wasn't for them checking up on me every day, do you know what I mean? Anything could happen to me here and no one would know about it. So they check up on me, not check up on me in a bad way. They check in with me. Do you know what I mean? Eddie needs someone that will back you up in the trenches and values loyalty and respect. Yeah, I agree with that, Eddie. It's nice to see you. Lots of love. Thanks for coming on here. I haven't seen you for a while. Yeah. in the trench, and the values, loyalty, respect. I totally agree with you, Eddie. You know, if you've been watching my show recently, you might have known that I did actually, you know, give a British guy a chance, and I got really emotionally attached to him. And I actually thought he was serious about me, but not. So that was really difficult for me. I had to walk away, which I have done. I'm still connected to them. You've seen it, yeah. So, you know, like, I don't very often give British guys a chance, but it was really hard. I'm better be careful because I'm starting to like tear up now, and I was getting over that person. So shame. Yeah, it was a shame, you know. But at the end of the day, if he doesn't think I'm the right person for him, so you know, clearly I'm not. But it is a shame because I think it's quite rare to find someone that you've got a really emotional connection with who understands you. But at the end of the day, if I'm not making him happy anymore because he obviously doesn't think I'm the right person for me, can't commit to me, then, you know, he's not the right person for me either. So had to walk away, you know, for my own good. And I'm glad I did that. I'm glad I had the balls to walk away, because so many guys will keep you in that situation where you're kind of friends with asexual benefits. And I didn't want that to happen. You know, it's difficult because you've got to give time to a person to get to know them and talk about a lot of relationship stuff if you're both interested in each other romantically, in order to, you know, like assess whether you are right for each other. So you kind of go in the direction of possible boyfriend and girlfriend, but it gets to a point where you think that this person is like acting like a, well, that's what happened with me, is I got to the point where I thought he's actually acting like my boyfriend, but not. In the end, it was directionless. There was no hope for the future. He wasn't even saying he could come and see me twice a month in a long distance relationship if we got into that. And so, you know, that basically was it. You know, I can't go and be with someone carrying on like he's my boyfriend when he's not, and then like he won't even do that. He can't even see that. You know, you need someone who's going to give you direction from a very early stage, you know, and be making plans with you. IMAO. I don't even know what IMAO means. Do you know what I mean? You know, like I thought it's a shame because at one point I really thought he could see me in his future, because he was talking about future stuff together and things like day trips and stuff. And I even kind of waved at his mum on camera, and he talked to his mum about me. So I actually thought he was really serious about me. But I guess I was, you know, like mistaken. But I'm getting really tearful now again, so I better be careful. Oh man, stop it, Sandra. Oh dear. Yeah. So yeah, I need to stop thinking about that person basically. You know, because I'm the one still like a bit upset, clearly. So yeah, but you know, like you said, Eddie, I need someone that you know, like I need a guy who will share his life with me, who doesn't have secrets, who will say how he's feeling and thinking, and you know what I mean, and be completely honest, but not someone who's like, you know, like this video is like, you know, you got an uphill battle to begin with. Was a message I sent blocked? I don't know, Eddie. I haven't sent it. I haven't blocked anything, but YouTube blocked some. YouTube is very I haven't blocked anything, but even my best friend Sam sometimes gets their YouTube stuff blocked, but because I have filters on there. So but usually it's for sexual words, not usually anything normal. But I mean, YouTube is a law unto itself at the moment. Like, because I get a lot of people who send comments from porn channels who I keep having to report, but they don't do anything about it, so I just have to hide them from the channel and delete the messages. And then some innocent comments just get lost, you know, they vanish. One person's a long time ago was about a movie, and they said I really like that movie, and their comment vanished, you know. But so I definitely haven't blocked anything. So yeah. But you know, I think it's really important that, you know, I do need transparency in a relationship or potential relationship. I need a guy to be able to tell me anything and everything, not keep anything from me, especially because I'm very intuitive and can tell if someone's hiding something, and it just makes the situation a whole lot worse. Do you know what I mean? So I just, you know, like, and like you say, you need someone to back you up in the trenches and values loyalty and respect. I need someone who's committal, but maybe it's because I'm going after British guys and really I want a foreign guy. And so maybe I just need to keep looking for my foreign guy, because I personally would want to commit even more to the right foreign guy. Do you know what I mean? Indian particularly, right? So maybe subconsciously that's what I need. But I was really keen on the British guy, you know. I thought it's possible I could have a British soulmate as well, you know. But they didn't, you know, I don't think they want their life to change either. And it's just like, but life changes when you want to get into a relationship. It changes by default. Do you know what I mean? You can't expect to get into a relationship or seek a relationship or be on an asexual dating site looking for a relationship, and then someone come in your life and it not change. You know, it's going to change. That person's going to be in your life. You're going to have to make time and space for them. You're going to have to try to communicate with them. I mean, he was very communicative. Like really communicative. That's why I thought he was really interested in me, you know. And he seemed like a lovely person. I still think he's a lovely person. I don't think he's a horrible person at all. I think he's a very kind-hearted person. Just obviously, clearly, we're not right for each other. Clearly, it's just a shame. But there it is. You know, I got hurt, but you know, he didn't intentionally hurt me. So it's just the way it is, isn't it? Really, you know, suck it up as it is. You know, but the fact that he was originally, I was saying I reconnected with an old female friend, and she was talking about her 7-year relationship and having extra male come into the bedroom. You reconnected with an old female friend, and she was talking about her 7-year relationship and having an extra male come in the bedroom. When I mentioned my relationship, she was shocked. Oh my God, I don't tend to connect with older friends. You know what I mean? Usually, like all my friends in my past aren't real true friends anyway, so I just walk away from all that. Pretty much. There's only one person that if they came back into my life and really wanted me to be their friend, possibly I would, but I don't think it would work. I've left that now. So yeah. Yeah, I mean, having that extra male come into the bedroom, it's just like, oh, I want a guy who's monogamous, you know, and sure, I mean, if a person's already thinking about other people, and yeah, I know some people are polyamorous and they have other people doing that and threesomes and stuff. She was like, my goodness, you were highly naughty. How did that happen? Oh, bless you. Yeah, I know, Eddie. You've changed your life. I think that's what you're trying to say, isn't it? That life changes when you meet someone. That, you know, life has changed dramatically from you, hasn't it? For you, hasn't it? Like, you've gone from a highly sexual guy to like being in a relationship with no sex, and you think it's the best thing in the world to happen to you, which is great. I kind of grew up, yeah, kinda. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing, you know, the British guy, the really one that I really liked, you know, he likes older women. And at the end of the day, an older woman, unless they are a highly sexual woman and want a young guy as their toy, sexual toy, or just want to, like, you know, play with them in that way, an older woman's really going to want a strong guy who knows what he wants, who can commit and settle down with her. Do you know what I mean? That's kind of what an older woman wants. So I think sometimes people like are attracted to certain people, but they don't really think through totally. They don't really think through totally what that entails and what that means. Like, I like younger guys, but then I live a very young teenager lifestyle, you know? Like, I'm like going clubbing. I'm into like fluffy things, sparkly things, cuddly toys. You know, like I'm like into theme parks, zoos, aquariums, eating out, cinema, superhero movies, Disney and Pixar movies. You know what I mean? I'm like living the lifestyle of a guy who's in his early 20s would, or maybe even younger than 20s would. Kind of like my lifestyle really suits a guy who's in his early to mid 20s, or he would probably be a little bit older than me, even in his early to mid 20s. Probably like mid 20s is probably a bit older for me, but do you know what I mean? I'm living the lifestyle of that a guy, not my birth decay, my soul age would be happy with. Do you know what I mean? Like, and so, you know, the only difference is obviously like I need a younger guy who's interested in an older girl who wants to commit, because most younger guys are not that into commitment, you know. So, but if a younger guy is into an older girl, then naturally I would expect that he would want to be committed to her, unless he just wants her for a sex toy, basically, which obviously there's quite a lot of younger guys who like women as their older women as their sexual fantasy. Like to be with an older woman is just their sexual fantasy, and that's what they want fulfilling. They don't have any concept really of or thoughts that they're going to commit to that person. That's all it is. It's just pure sex and lust, really. And like, oh, you're my fantasy, so I've got to have you. And I've ticked that one off my black book bedroom post. Do you know what I mean? And so, but if it's an asexual guy that's into older women, then I would have thought he would know that, an older woman would need someone who's strong, who knows what he wants, and who would come and actually travel to see her, who's able to cook and clean for himself, who's can look after himself and look after her heart and emotions, and whilst she still has her own life, do you know what I mean, and lives her own independent life with her own friends, and and has her own career. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's kind of where they're going to be at with a older girl. And also, like, are they going to show her to their parents? But I mean, I actually got to wave to his mum on camera. She waved to me. So, like, his mum didn't have a problem with that. So, and I am really young anyway. So I thought that's, when someone actually talks to their parents about you, that usually means they're quite serious about you. So, anyway, it's over, isn't it? It's gone. 6 days till 3 years with my girl. Oh, happy 3-year anniversary, Eddie. That's incredible. Wow. 3 years anniversary with your girl. I bet it feels great, doesn't it, to say my girl? Do you know what I mean? Like, I think guys, when they're single, they don't realize how fortunate it is when they find a really right person for them, Like, I'm really pleased because Sam, I think don't you, Eddie, that Sam's in a relationship with another non-binary person, asexual now. So I'm really, really thrilled for them. They're so happy. Then there's Ralph, who watches this channel. He's engaged to his asexual fiance. They're both asexual. And then I have my friend John, who's married to his asexual wife. So, it is possible for like asexuals to meet other asexuals. Obviously, you're not asexual yourself, but you are with another asexual girl, and you really appreciate her. And that's what I love about you as a person, is that you really appreciate the benefits of being with an asexual girl and having a committed relationship without sex, And I just think, and you live miles away from each other, don't you? So I think it's really important that that you're in this stream, like you said, at the moment, because it's really important to know in life that once you found that special person, you shouldn't let them go. Do you know what I mean? I know was it 10 years you waited for your girl? So, maybe I just make it too easy for guys sometimes, but I don't believe in beating around the bush. If I'm interested in a guy, I'll tell him so, and if he's not interested, I'll just have to move on. Even if I get hurt, because at the end of the day, if you don't take any risks in life, you don't take any chances, you don't get anywhere in life. If you just hide and live in fear all your life, you get zilchware. You know what I mean? There comes to a point when you've got to like claim your foot in the ground and say, hey, I'm going to go for this. And if it fails, it fails. You know what I mean? Epic failures. I don't think there's any failures. I think there's just lessons you learn from, So, I've just got to make sure that I one day find a nice guy for me. Maybe I'm meant to be single for the next 10 years. I am kind of really young at the moment. Probably a bit too young to settle down myself. I don't know. But if I met the right Indian asexual guy, I'd settle down and be committed if he felt that way about me. But like, I'm not just looking for a boyfriend. I'm looking for a soulmate and best friend and life partner, all in one. Someone that will share his deepest thoughts, feelings, emotions, and secrets with me. I really need that, because a lot of my friends do that with me. So my closest friends. So it's very important for me to have that in a relationship, and spend time with each other, And I think, like you say, value, loyalty, and respect is so important, and who will be there for you in your times that you're not so good, and be happy to be there. Like sometimes you can get a guy that's like there with you through tough times, but you can tell he doesn't really want to be there. It's kind of like really difficult for him. Whereas it's better if you've got a guy or whoever you're interested in, gender wise. I'm only interested in guys, that's why I'm using that as an example. It's better if you've got a guy who's like there with you as your rock when you're really upset and in pain, and and wants to be there for you, not as in you're making them feel inconvenienced or a burden to them, or oh no, it's this again. It's like they're there for you as a strength and say, you know, I'm always here for you. I'm so glad you're talking to me about this and helping you with it. Do you know what I mean? Helping you emotionally and to deal with situations, you know, because like relationships aren't easy, but if you find someone wonderful and beautiful, then they're gonna be like they're gonna make life more special, aren't they, overall, I think. You know, and the fact you've been going for 3 years is amazing, especially because you're not asexual yourself, Eddie. I think that's really good. But it's nice that you really value your asexual partner, you know. The problem with me is I keep coming across guys as well, like I either get interested in heteromantic guys, just heteromantics, and they tend to not be into kissing and stuff like that, or I try the more sexual end of the asexual spectrum. It's just they're just too sexual, you know. Some of them, they want to try sex, and it's like I'm just not into doing that again. What's the point? I may as well just be with a sexual guy if that's the case. Do you know what I mean? I can have more choice then of sexual guys, like line them up. But you know, I always get the really highly sexual guys after me, the ones that want sex loads, and it's like, please, I just Eddie, and I was like, that's why I love you, sweetie. Oh, that's really nice that you love her because she's asexual and she's not into like sex and stuff with other people. It's really good. Yeah, it's really good that you're like that, you know, that you value her for being different. I think, you know, that's what I need. A guy's going to value me for being different, not like the rest, you know. It's like, for me, it's like I can easily get a sexual guy. It's not difficult. I can get Indian sexual guys in my city. Like, I've met 3 clubbing. It's not difficult for me to get an Indian guy that's sexual. It's just I don't want a sexual guy. Do you know what I mean? I just really don't. It's not interesting for me. It's boring. And you know, I don't want to be doing that again. Sex doesn't do anything for me. It just bores me. And it's not interesting and I don't want it. You know, it's not the type of life I want ever again. So I think, you know, I just have to wait it out and see what the future holds for me, you know. But I do like that. Like sometimes I'm 50-50 on relationships, like 50%, like I'm really happy being single. I really don't need a relationship. I don't need to be answering to anyone. Whenever I think about relationship, it gives me relationship anxiety, and you know, it doesn't feel good. And then other 50% means like, oh come on, like I just want to like find the right guy now. I want to settle down. In terms, my settling down is not a traditional settling down. Though my settling down would be finding a guy who actually wants to go out clubbing with me, who wants to do all the hobbies and interests that I do, and probably he'll have some of his own that he might want me to go to as well. And you know, and be in a serious committed relationship and share all our thoughts, feelings, emotions with each other and be super connected even when apart. You know what I mean? That's kind of my ideal of setting down. Long-term committed relationship, like don't want anyone else. Do you know what I mean? So it's not like traditional settling down. But you know, I think it's important that I do know what I want. I think it's important for the guy to know what he wants. And so, you know, like there's no point in going into a relationship or potential relationship with someone who doesn't know what the hell they want, because that is an uphill battle. You know, and if they don't know what they're doing in the next 1 to 5 years, you know, got no idea where they're headed in life, that's another big issue as well. If kind of they're at a crossroads in their life at the moment, that's not really a good time to enter their life. Sometimes it isn't a good time, right time though. So, you know, it's just a case of you've got to see what comes up. But there are thousands of people out there. There must be some Indian asexual guys in the UK that are single. There must be somewhere. It's like, hey, sexual Indian guys, where are you? But most of them want marriage. Like, there's one guy I know who's Indian in the UK, but he wants marriage. It's like, you know, but it's not to do with love, I don't think. It's just more like a marriage of convenience. I'm like, really, I'm not interested in marriage. And 2, I wouldn't want it to be convenient. And you know, it's like I'm just not interested in that. To me, that's not real true love, you know. I want the real true love, you know. That's why I go after it, even though it's heart-wrenching sometimes. But at the end of the day, you know, I won't give up. You know, if you give up on true love, you never get it. I'll say that again. If you give up on true love, you never get it, right? Because you just don't. And I think sometimes it's difficult with me because I'm 50-50 on relationship. 50% I want to stay absolutely single for a long, long time. 50% I want to be in a relationship seriously committed. But I think that's just because I haven't met the right asexual guy to be in a relationship with. you know, and I haven't met someone who makes me feel good about being in a relationship with them. Oh, do you know what I mean? Like sustaining that type of feeling, good feeling. So, you know, but it's very important that, you know, that the person who you thinking about getting into a relationship with really wants to get into the relationship with you. They're really enthusiastic when they talk to you. They're really happy to see you. They're making plans to be with you. They're making plans to message you, to chat with you, you know. I mean, a person who's really keen on you and being in a relationship with you, they'll be messaging you, should be messaging you each day, having regular contact. They should be actually scheduling video calls with you, audio calls with you, making plans for the future with you, talking about introducing you to their family. This is all the type of things which shows you that they're interested in commitment to you from a very, very early on stage of the relationship, you know. And someone who's not interested in looking at other people, like not interested in relationship, having a relationship with someone else. I mean, obviously when you're in the dating stage and you're just getting to know each other, they might be looking around, but really you want someone who you meet, who you know is really just into you from the get-go, you know, and who you know is kind of just pursuing you. That's what you need. And you need to, you know, you need someone who's like, you don't have to worry that they're into you. You don't have to think, oh God, are they looking at someone else? Are they interested in someone else? Are they going to go off with someone else? You know, they should be fostering security within you. And if you get a guy who's unsure of what he wants, I'm saying guy because I'm only into guys, so just swap it for whatever gender you're interested in. If you get a guy that's you know unsure of what he wants, then he can never ever instill confidence and security within you in a relationship because he's unsure. So it's literally like being on a seesaw with someone. If someone is unsure of what they want or unsure of whether it's you they want, it's just like a seesaw. It's like this all the time. And you've got to get the hell off that because it's very destructive for you. You can actually feel it intuitively. You can feel like this making me really nervous. This person's not really sure what they want. I can feel that they're scared. I mean, they're entitled to be scared of a relationship in the sense of, you know, like it's new to them and they didn't expect to get in one maybe, they should be scared in a good way. They should be scared in an excitable way. Like I'm a bit scared, but I'm really looking, you know, really going for it because I really want to be with this person, really care about this person. This person's amazing, and you know, you know, the thing you don't want to look out for is someone saying you're amazing and incredible and wonderful to be with at the beginning, and then as time goes on they fade that out. They're not saying those words to you anymore, and more like they're feeling nervous and not really wanting to talk to you as much. You know, you've got to look out for those type of things. Eddie, it's not letting me type what I wanted to try say twice. Oh, sorry, Eddie, I'm sorry. Yeah, I only know that I know YouTube is playing up at the moment also because they've got a lot of bots doing things as well. I'm really sorry. I guess there was some text missing from what you said, but I get the general gist of your message is that in relationships it's important to not be with someone who you know who doesn't want to be with you through thick and thin. It's better to have someone who back you up in the trenches, you know, be there for you at your worst times, not just your best, who values loyalty as in wants to be faithful and committed to you, because commitment is all about being loyal and faithful to that one person and knowing that that person's the right person for you to be in a relationship with. And respect, you know, and thinking, you know, like I respect your time, I value your worth, I value you as a person. And then, you know, like I know that Eddie said as well that he was in contact with a old female friend because Eddie's not asexual, and they were shocked to hear that he is now in a relationship with an asexual person and not interested in having a sexual relationship because he's having a relationship with an asexual person who's not intersex, you know. So Eddie is not asexual, they're heterosexual, and his partner is asexual on the aromantic spectrum, so lacks romantic attraction as well. So and they've been together 3 years in 6 days time. So, and they don't live together, they live separately. So a long distance relationship it is. They haven't met in person yet. I've been going for 3 years. I mean, that is incredible, I have to say. And they love their partner as well for who they are, you know, the fact they're not like the rest of the women, because Eddie's been in relationships before where the person didn't actually, you know, like give them a meaningful relationship because they were like into sex and stuff. And So now Eddie's got a very meaningful relationship that makes him very, very happy, and he really loves being with his girl. I think it took him about 10 years to be with his girl, but I know he's having difficult typing because of YouTube at the moment. Blame it all on YouTube. I can't do anything with it because I'm not even doing anything. I'm not blocked anything. So but yeah, so his partner was a YouTuber, and he saw her and thought, I want to be with her. And eventually, like 10 years later, I think it was, she asked him out. So that's really nice, really beautiful, but he knew what he wanted, and he wanted her, and he persisted, and it came true. And some people, they don't see things as opportunities, but Eddie did. They're like, oh, I'm gonna carry on and pray and want that person. And I think that's why it works so much with Eddie with his girl, because Eddie really wanted to be with her. He knew that he wanted to be with her more than anyone in the whole world. I made a wish and she appeared. Yeah. True story. Yeah. It was really, really good that you made a wish and she appeared. I wish I make wishes all the time that my asexual Indian soulmate would turn up, but he's not turned up yet. So I'm guessing I've got some more work to do in my life before that happens. But yeah, I remember you made a wish and she appeared, And I think that's the thing, you've got like when she made a wish and she appeared, you valued her worth, didn't you? You didn't think, oh, now I've got my wish come true, that's it. I think there's so many guys, well, it's not just guys, I guess women or whatever gender, but I refer to guys because that's my experience, because I'm only into guys. I think there's so many guys that Eddie, wish on a full moon. Oh, bless you. I've seen quite a few full moons actually, because where I live, in the hallway, it shows the moon quite a lot. So yes, I have to remember to do that when I see a full moon next time. Maybe I'm just not ready for my Indian guy to show up or something. I've got work to do before then. But yes, that's a very good tip. I might try that actually. See if it comes true. But yeah, so Eddie got the girl, but he still values his girl, right? Because there's a lot of time I see where guys get the girl and it's like, oh, I've got you now. That's it. And they lose valuing that person. They take them for granted, like that person's always going to be there for them. Eddie, not many guys realize that you must be able to sacrifice for the relationship. Yeah, it's true, Eddie. You must be able to sacrifice for the relationship. Yeah. I mean, I watch a dating coach, a good dating coach. There's not many of them around, traditional, not like me, who's an asexuality dating and relationship coach. Someone who's a traditional dating coach, but he's a spiritual dating coach. It's give and take. Oh, bless you. And he actually says that, it requires sacrifice for a relationship, and yeah, it does. But there we go. So it does require you to change your life, that's for sure. But I think you've got to change your life only if it makes you happy. I think there's no point in sacrificing if it's not going to make you happy, and if you begrudge sacrificing things. Do you know what I mean? I mean, years ago, I changed myself so much for a relationship that I didn't even know who I was anymore. So I mean, that is just not good. I won't do that again. I won't change myself to be in a relationship, so I don't even know who the frigging heck I am anymore. I mean, I didn't like my life in a relationship, so that's why sometimes I'm thinking I'll be better off staying single, Because, and communication is what is needed badly. I really agree with that, Eddie. 100 gazillion %. Communication is what's needed badly. If you cannot communicate with your person, you shouldn't be with them. Like that guy that I mentioned tonight, the other British guy, not the one I really like, but the other one that I talked on the dating site that said, I think I prefer a younger girl. And I said, don't even bother with someone like that, because clearly if they've already made their mind up, they probably prefer someone younger. You're going to have an uphill battle, which is what this video is about, being in a battlefield to begin with. You don't want that. You don't want to battle with someone and try and convince them otherwise, And so, but this guy said, oh, that they need their space because they want about all the passionate kissing I like, and talking about like basically communicating every aspect of your life is not something they're up for because they need their space. Right. And so therefore that they wouldn't be a person who would want to communicate with me all the time. That's clearly what they're saying. And in order to have a successful, happy, healthy relationship, especially when you don't even live with the person, you need constant communication. You need for them to be keeping in regular contact with you all throughout each day. You know, that's what a relationship needs. The person should be talking to you every day when apart. Like, you're having the relationship, you're keeping it going, you're keeping the connection alive, you're keeping the conversation going. And for me personally, whenever I'm in a relationship, I need, like, there's going to be sometimes when it's going to be very inconvenient for you to go on the phone or video chat, but you're going to need to for the sake of the relationship. Because there might be some times when your partner's upset and you can have miscommunication over text messaging, or the text message tone is not coming out correctly. So you'll need to just say, hey, I understand that you're not feeling great at the moment. Let's get on a video call. Let's get on an audio call. It might be very inconvenient for you. You might be having tons of work that you need to do, right? But you have to get on that video call or audio call them, because you don't want them feeling bad about the relationship. That festers and they just think, oh, I'll leave their relationship because it's no good for me. Whereas if you actually talk to them face to face, video chat or audio call, and made damn time for them, even if it costs you some time doing something else, then they will probably still be with you now. But because you didn't bother getting off your backside, because you're like, oh, I just message, like, which is like a kid thing a lot of the time, you know, you didn't actually take action to like video chat with them or audio call with them when you needed to. That stuff's been misconstrued and it's been hurt on both sides. Eddie, when I can, I ask her how she is, how her doctor's appointment went. I even call her on the phone. She hates the phone, laugh out loud. You see, that's really good. Yeah, how she is, how her doctor appointment, and when I even call her on the phone, she hates the phone. Yeah, I mean, not everyone likes the phone, but at the end of the day, you know, I totally agree with you, Eddie. You've got to be like, especially if you're going to have a long distance relationship, which most asexuals are going to at least start off long distance, the majority, because you're not going to probably live near each other, right? And so, you know, you've got to be prepared to do whatever it takes to keep the relationship going and alive and happy and healthy. Because when you live apart, there's a lot of things that can be misconstrued. A lot of things that can be misconstrued, especially, you know, like, you are going to want your own time and space and to do your own thing. But obviously that then, you know, that person needs to feel like they know what's happening. So for me, I have an anxious personality type. Some people have an avoidant personality type. Some people have an anxious personality type, right? The avoidant people, they will just not want to talk about stuff and they will just want to go off on their own. The anxious person will want that person to come to them and say, hey, this is what I'm doing for the day. You know, so I might not get to talk to you later on because I'm going out with my friend, for example. We're going to be out for like X amount of hours. Right. So for me, for an anxious personality type, I need a guy who's going to be really happy to communicate with me loads on a daily basis. And like, if he's doing his own thing with his mates, that's fine, so long as I know what's happening and I don't think he's not speaking to me because I've done something wrong to offend him. And then I'm sat worried for 6, 7, 8 hours thinking, oh, have I upset him if it's something I've said because he's just stopped talking to me? Do you know what I mean? And so basically, you know, I need a guy who's like, hey, honey, good morning. You know, like, today I'm going to meet my best friend, blah, blah, blah. We're going to be hanging out together for several hours, so I won't be able to chat to you for the rest of the day. And I'll be like, oh, I have a nice time, you know, and that's fine. I get on with my work. I'm not worrying about what they're up to in terms of like, have I upset them? You know, and you know, and what's going on in life, and feel detached from them. I feel connected. Eddie, when she needs her space, she says so. I say, even if it's only a few minutes we chat, I will be good. Right, so when she needs her space, she says so. Even if it's only a few minutes, we chat will be good. Cannot spell. It's all right, Eddie, don't worry. I can't spell half the time either. I'm a writer, but I can when I'm writing books, but I do lots of edits. Some books go through 15 edits of mine. But yeah, when I'm doing text speak, I kind of type too fast because I talk fast. But yeah, I understand what you mean, you know, like, even if it's only a few minutes that you can chat, it'll be good. Yeah. And I think that's really important, you know, like, if someone needs their space, they still need to let the other person know what's going on. So the person doesn't think they've done something wrong and the person still feels connected. I like to feel connected to my guy the whole time, every single day of my life, if I'm in a relationship with him. If there's something that feels like a disconnect, I feel like I've done something wrong, or there's something wrong with the relationship, right? So I need him to be consciously aware of that and to want the same thing, to want to feel connected to me all the time. I'm very affectionate as well. I'm very physically publicly affectionate. Like, I like to hold my guy's hand loads. Like, I even like to hold my guy's hand around a supermarket. Like, let's hold the basket together. It's so cute. And so I need a guy that's really into kissing, really into cuddling, really into public displays of affection, really into hand holding, really into both mental, spiritual, and physical connection, but without the genitals involved, basically, like with their holding hands and stuff like that, you know. It's very important, you know. And like you say, if you've got a person that needs their space, and, you know, even if they can just speak to you for a few minutes, it'll be good. Because if you're a person that like needs constant communication and connection, you do need them to spend some time with you, you know. And for me, like, I don't mind, like, I expect a guy to have a life of his own. I expect him to do his own thing and not wanting, you know, not liking everything that I like. And it actually is better for me if the guy says, look, I'm going to be spending X amount of hours with my friends, so I'm not going to be like back till later or whatever. And then I'm like, oh, that's fine. Know what's happening in his life. I've got like 9 hours of blogging and YouTubing and writing articles and doing website work or whatever, and I can get on with that. And then it's like, I don't have to be thinking like what's going on with him. Because, you know, like, if you're living together, for example, which I don't want to do, but if you're living together, you kind of know what the other person's doing, right? They'll be like, oh, I'm out with my mates tonight, or I'm going shopping after work, or expect me home late because of this, or, you know, like, and you kind of know what's happening. But if you're having a long distance relationship, you don't know. So they have to tell you, you have to verbalize what's going on in your life. I should have done this as a long distance relationship video, shouldn't I? Because it's turning out to be this. But, you know, you kind of like need to let the other person know what's happening, so that they feel like you're living with them virtually, if you know what I mean. So it's like you're living with them but not living with them, and you're living every day with them even though you're not physically living with them, if that makes sense. Because that way you can grow together, you can flourish, you can develop. And when you're telling each other things about their day, they can encourage you. Like Eddie said, Eddie knows that his girl's going to a doctor's appointment. He can then say, you know, how was your doctor's appointment? You can't have a backwards and forwards conversation, keep it interesting day after day, week after week, month after month, if you don't tell the other person what's going on in your life. If you're just like, oh, I like my own space, not talking to you about it, it's none of your business type thing, that's not a relationship. Relationship requires constant communication, openness, sharing thoughts, feelings, emotions, secrets, and what's going on in your day, what's going on in your world. So that that person knows, you know, if you were living with someone, you wouldn't completely go and shut the door and not come out. Well, maybe a few people would, but you wouldn't go and shut the door usually, not come out of your room and not speak to the person and tell them what's going on, because that'd just be very rude. And it basically mean, like, what's the point of even being in a relationship with you? I mean, how you're not communicating. Like, communication is one of miscommunication, bad communication is one of the main reasons. I think it's the main reason people split up, is because they can't communicate properly. It's a lack of communication. Because instead of people expressing how they feel, they'll bottle it up. Like, if I'm not feeling good, I'll say I'm not feeling good right now, you know, or I'm upset, or I'm worried, or I'm concerned about this. Like, if I've got a strong guy for me, then he'll be like, okay, honey, let's talk about that. Let's get on the phone, let's have a video call, or, you know, tell me how you're feeling. If I've got an unstrong guy, it'll just make him like doubt the relationship, and then be kind of like pushing all his fears and doubts back at me. And it'll be kind of like he's unsure, and it'll be like, oh, let's just forget this, you know. But, you know, if I've got a really strong guy for me, it'll be like, it's okay, honey, you don't need to worry, I'm here for you, like, let's discuss this, you know. And so it's a really makes a huge difference when you've got a very strong guy who knows what the hell he wants, who's very stable in himself, and who is willing to work with you, you know. Because if you've got an anxious personality, you ideally don't want to be with someone who's got an avoidant personality, because the personalities don't actually work that well. But you can still be there, so long as the avoidant personality type understands that the anxious personality type, their needs. So the anxious personality is going to need someone to say, you know, the avoidant person to actually tell them what they're doing. Like, I need time out for 5 hours or something, because I just need to gather my thoughts. But, you know, if that person puts it in a way that it makes it sound like there's something wrong with the relationship, that anxious personality type would just be worried for the 5 hours of they're gathering their thoughts that that person's just going to leave them. Do you see what I mean? It's not healthy. So, you know, and what really is difficult for me is, like, if I get a guy and he's like all willing to video chat, and then he's not making the next scheduling the next video chat or scheduling the next audio call, it kind of makes me think, like, are you really that interested? Because I don't just want to have a text only relationship. For me, if I'm having a long distance relationship, there's absolutely no way that I just want to be texting. I mean, to me, that's just like a pen pal. Do you know what I'm saying? And you need to be meeting up as soon as possible in person as well. depends how, obviously, how far you live from each other, but you should, the guy, in my opinion, the guy, because I prefer like a traditional guy like that, should be coming to make plans to see me, right? Because you should just be taking that initiative, be a strong guy. I'm like, yeah, I want to spend some time with her in person, because the thing is, you don't totally know a person until you've met them in person and been around them in person. So I think most people start off as a long distance relationship if they're asexual, but I do think you need to be seeing each other in person as soon as you possibly can, and then, and then developing and growing the relationship more. And one person usually does have to move towards the other. Most people do not want a forever relationship for year after year apart. But I do know, like, some people, there's a person who wasn't asexual in my old job, and she was doing a long distance relationship with her guy for 5 years, but they were saving up for a house together before they moved in. But she used to go and see him once or twice a month, I think it was. She used to see him every month. So they were seeing each other in person as well, which is very, very important, Eddie, she said the same thing. What? The same thing as in she can't do a long distance relationship forever. Is that what she said, or was it something to do with communication? So what did she say about the same thing? If you can clarify that, if YouTube will let you, it'd be great. But like, there has to come a point where one person moves towards the other. Got to visit to see how we act together. Yeah. I mean, the British guy that I really, really liked, he didn't want to commit before we met in person, which I understand, but I thought he was going to actually arrange to actually see me in person, because we were talking about it. But then when I got the timetable for him actually to come and do it, it's kind of like, well, oh great, I'll probably do that with you, but that'll be much later. Like, as in, and he wouldn't even set a date for it. And I'm like, well, if you are really that interested in me, really that keen on me, you'd be like, yeah, let's make a date. Especially as I was going to meet him halfway. It wasn't even going to be in my city. I was going to go out of my way to actually see him. So it's kind of like, why haven't you actually arranged that? Do you know what I mean? Like, why aren't you on the case? So you know what I mean? It's, at the end of the day, it's just like, and I said, if we did meet and then we wanted a long distance relationship, will you come and see me, like, basically twice a month? And he was like, yeah. And then he was like, didn't even speak about that, like, completely avoided that. And so I'm like, okay. And then he admitted he's non-committal, can't commit to me. So I'm like, okay, fine. Because you can't be in a relationship until you really, well, you're obviously in a relationship, Eddie, so that's not true. You've been in a relationship for 3 years. So yeah, you're in a relationship before you've met. So I mean, for me personally, I find it very difficult, because like, I kind of like, if a guy's acting like my boyfriend already, I kind of in some ways want him to commit to me, but I can't be in a relationship with a guy who hasn't met me. But if he's got the opportunity, especially if he lives in the same country, to actually just come and drive down to see me because he has his own car, there's no reason why a guy can't drive down to see me if he's got his own car. No reason whatsoever. I mean, we're in lockdown now, but this was before we went into lockdown. It was social distancing, but there was absolutely no reason why the guy couldn't have travelled in his own car. It's not like he would be actually in public transport with anyone, so he could still social distance. Do you know what I mean? It's just like ridiculous, in my opinion. But some guys, I guess, are scared about doing stuff like that. So each to their own. If that's the way they feel, that's the way they feel. I don't know, but I'm not the right person for him, clearly. So I do wish him well. I think he's a lovely guy. I'm clearly not the right person for him if he hasn't got the drive to actually drive down and meet me as soon as possible. Then because I don't want to beat around the bush. I don't want to carry on being like that in that type of situation that I'm not now, without that person actually coming and taking action to come and see me. So yeah, for me, it's all about like taking action, like a guy who takes action, makes plans, and is definite about me. So, but clearly I'm not the right person for that person, so I wish them the best. I always wish them the best. They're a kind-hearted person, so I hope they find the right girl for them. So, but yeah, like, I can't be in a relationship with a guy that I haven't actually met yet. Really, I've tried that once before. Actually, it didn't go very well. because I did get into a relationship with the guy I hadn't met, and then it didn't end very well. So, but it's kind of weird because, you know, if you're like acting like you're committed already to the person, it's kind of a bit strange. But I think the problem in getting to a relationship before you actually meet in person, there's an added pressure that you're already in a relationship. So if you don't get on with each other in person and something doesn't work out, you've kind of already said your relationship together. It makes things very, very awkward then. But I have no doubt in my mind, I personally don't have any doubt in my mind that I would have got on with that person had I met them in real life. That's one thing I do not doubt for a second. And I still think that now. Ace Man Richard Howard. Hello, Richard. Lots of love. Nice to see you here. How are you doing? Nice to see you. Always nice to see you. Yeah, so with that particular person, you know, I don't have any doubt that I would have got on well with them and met them in person. I really believe that. I still know that. Even if I met them now, I still believe I get on with them. But you know, obviously I'm not the right person for them. So, you know, they need to move on. I need to move on. I'm sure they probably maybe are getting on better than me, which is good. I wish them well. You're good. That's great, Richard. That's great. But yeah, Richard, we've gone on to talk about long distance relationships quite a bit now. Because I was saying that a lot of asexuals will likely get into a long distance relationship before they meet someone in person. But I was saying that you really need to meet someone in person before getting into a relationship, ideally. But obviously, Eddie's already in a long distance relationship with an asexual person for 3 years, soon, in 6 days' time. So I just think that sometimes if you get into a relationship before you meet, it can be added pressure of having to make things work because you're already in a relationship. Do you know what I mean? But I think that gets to a point as well where you do actually need some commitment for in terms of security. Do you know what I mean? Because otherwise you can keep going on. It can foster insecurity. It's like, well, are you looking at me being in a relationship with me, or are you just looking around at loads of other women? Do you know what I mean? And so it can work in your disfavor if you don't commit before you meet up. But I'd always recommend meeting up first before you commit. But you should meet up as soon as possible. That way you can not waste anyone's time. Do you know what I mean? And then you can actually like decide if there's, you know, like you want to be in a relationship. Do you know what I mean? Because when you see a snippet of someone on the internet, it's a snippet. It's not how they are in everyday life, you know? And so, you know, like for me, I live a very teenager lifestyle, as you know, and I'm very, very young. And the danger for me is if I get with the wrong guy, I might actually be bored because I don't like living a normal life. I'm not into like sitting down in front of the TV watching Netflix and chill or whatever. I like to sometimes have whole movie days, but I'd rather see a guy twice a week, quality time with him, than spend 7 days a week when he's doing stuff like watching TV, like sport and stuff, which I'm so bored out of my brain by. Because, you know, I don't want to live a life of boredom. I want to live a life of like happiness and really enjoying that person's company and talking about the world, planet, and universe and being so excited to see each other and doing things together. You know, I'm a doing person. I'm not a passive person in that way. And so, you know, like for me, you know, like I think sometimes it's better to have like really top quality time together, you know. But again, like when we're talking about not going into the battlefield, you know, before you start, is basically, you know, you don't want to be getting with anyone, with a person who you have to convince, you know, to spend time with you, who you have to convince to come and see you, who you have to convince to like make plans with you, you know. Like for me personally, I need a guy who's going to be like making plans, saying like, shall we book in another video session with each other? Shall we book in an audio call? I know you've been a bit upset today. I'm doing this now. Like I've got to eat my food or whatever. I've got to do this later. But you know, like I want to make time for you. Like, when are you free so I can chat to you? You know, because I know things are not going too well for you at the moment. So let's make a time for you. And you know, to be fair to that last British guy that I really, really liked, he did make some time for me. You know, there was a time I was really upset, and he did actually do an audio call with me and make time for me, which was really nice, which is why I thought he was really kind of a special person. But yes, anyway, I just have to get over him fully. So, you know, he had a lot of good traits. I really liked him a lot, you know, and I liked him for who he was. You know, he was a very different guy. So, but there you go. Not my guy, clearly. You know, I even thought about moving eventually to be with him, like years and years later, but I don't like the countryside, and he's quite into the countryside, and I'm into the city, so I'd have to live in the city nearer him, but I prefer living where I live anyway. I don't really want to move, so I need to find someone who'll move to live near me, you know, because that's another thing. You know, if you live far apart and the other person's not prepared to move and you don't want to move, then it's not going to work either, is it? Do you know what I mean? Two non-movers are not going to work forever. One of them's going to have to change to be with the other person, because otherwise it just won't work, you know. Because a relationship needs to progress, it needs to go somewhere. If not, you're fighting uphill battle just to get that person to commit to spend time with you, to be in a serious relationship, and to match your needs long term. Like years, you know, like I think long term. If I'm thinking long term, I'm thinking like in 10, 20, 30, 40 years time, do I see myself with this person? You know, like how am I going to be spending probably more time with them? How am I going to live near them, or them live near me? Like, do you know what I mean? And you need to be, people like jump into relationships and they don't even think about the consequences years later of either not getting into that relationship or getting into it. You know, you have to think of both. You have to kind of like, you know, for me personally, like I do like some company sometimes, you know, I do like to talk to a person. I do like to share my world and life with that person. I've got a very, very huge, big heart, and lots of love to give the right guy, and lots of kisses to give the right guy, you know. And sometimes, you know, I kind of like miss giving that to a guy. I can give it to myself and I can give it to my Facebook friends and everything, but you know, it's not really the same as a romantic relationship. And so, you know, I do miss that. You know, when you have a huge heart and a lot of love to give, and you're just naturally that type of person, like a puppy dog, that is kind of like really difficult. Like, oh, okay, like, but you know, I don't want someone who has puppy love for me. I want someone who has true love for me. But I like a puppy dog relationship where it's all kissy and cuddly, lick, lick, lick. In a nice way, not licking bits, but licking, tongue licking. Oh man, my streams turn out very funny. So yeah, it's very important that you know that when you're looking to get in a relationship with someone, there's not things you're battling against. Like, are you trying to convince them to be with you? Are you trying to convince them to see you? Are you trying to convince them to video chat with you? Are you trying to convince them to audio chat with you? If you're trying to convince them to do anything, it kind of like conning yourself, because it's like kind of like you shouldn't have to convince them. However, some people are very inexperienced at relationships and they don't actually understand that's what they're meant to do. They can't, if they're not, because there's a lot of asexuals that aren't used to being in relationships, so they don't actually know what they're doing. And so sometimes you have to kind of let them know and guide them. Like, you know, like most people like need to be planning ahead for video dating, video chatting. Most people need to be planning ahead for audio calling, but you know, there might be times when we need extra audio call or video call each other, you know. And it's nice if you let me know what you're doing in your day and you share your day with me, because like I said, a lot of asexuals aren't that experienced at, thank you for the thumbs up, aren't that experienced at relationships. And so therefore you kind of need to guide them. Like, I'm used to being in relationships. I've been in 2 really long-term relationships, right? And I was in long-term relationships from a very young age, like a teenager age, right? So I am used to how a relationship works, right? I haven't had a good relationship that's right. Thank you for the thumbs up. But you know, you have to kind of like guide someone. So for me, when I like a guy, I'm trying to explain to him what I like. There is this thing where guys, or any gender, you can swap it out for any gender, I just talk about guys because I'm only into guys, where they're not a mind reader, you know. And we need to remember that whoever we get into a relationship with or interested in a potential relationship with, they're not a mind reader. They don't necessarily know the right thing to do, especially if they're inexperienced relationships. You know, they might think, well, if I message you loads, then you'll think I'm too needy and therefore I'm not going to message you loads. Or if I try and video chat with you, it might be inconvenient. Like for me personally, I like to schedule video chats as much as possible, to schedule audio calls as much as possible. But there might be times where I really need to talk to that person. Because when you're having a relationship, sometimes you have to put that person as your priority. And that person should always be your priority in your life. In terms of like, you're in a relationship, you have to make that a priority whilst fitting all your other stuff in that's a priority to you as well, if you know what I mean. You know, you can't expect to be in a relationship and just like part-time. Do you know what I mean? If you put part-time hours into anything, you get part-time part-time things out. Do you know what I mean? It's anything's about the amount of work you put into it. You only achieve in life what you put a lot of work into. It's hard work. In a relationship, it's a full-time job. If you just think you're going to go into a relationship or not having to do any work and not having to communicate with the person, then ask yourself if you really want to be in a relationship, right? Relationship takes hard work, time, energy, effort, emotions are invested, time's invested on both parties, heart's invested, life's invested. Like, you know, like if I'm getting into a relationship with a guy, I expect to introduce him to my parents. I expect him to introduce me to his parents. I expect to be introduced to his family. You know, that's weird for me because I haven't been in a serious relationship for years. So when that happens, you know, it's kind of, there's going to be some normality. I have to understand, although I like to live a quirky teenager life, one that's different and not boring, there's going to be some things that crop up in the future with the guy. There's going to be more kind of like the more monotonous stuff, but it's gonna, if I'm with the right guy, then it won't be monotonous in the sense that I'll be like thrilled and overjoyed that he wants me in his life to share that part of his life. All the kind of like more monotonous stuff, the more less interesting stuff in his life, and it'll be more interesting because I'll be with him. You know, like sometimes when you're in relationships, you actually do things that the other person wants that you're not so keen on yourself, but you'll do it. It's like, you know, if I've got a guy who's really interested in going to a certain concert, for example, and maybe I'm not really into that band, but they really love that band, then, you know, I might go and see that with them because it's like, well, I don't mind whether I go or not to that band, but, you know, it's not really that interesting to me. But when I'm there, I'll then be in the moment with them and I'll be jumping up and down to the band. I'll be dancing with them because I don't believe in doing something half-hearted and being there and being blooming miserable. That's not what you do for the person. If you're going to go somewhere with a person, you don't moan about it. I've been with guys in the past that I've been to the cinema with. Sam, greetings, Sandra, Eddie, and Richard. Lots of friendship love to you, Sam. So I've been with the guys in the past, you know, and there's been some films that I've wanted to see, and they haven't been that enthusiastic about the films. And they've told me about it. Oh, why did you pick this film? Oh, this is boring. This is rubbish. And you don't want to be with a person like that. So if I'm with a guy and, you know, like I said, there's going to be some stuff that he'd probably want me to do with him that I'm not usually into. So if there's a band that he wanted me to go to, Ian, hi Sandra, hope you're good. Great video as usual. Oh, lots of love, Ian. It's really nice to see you. I didn't expect you to come here. Oh, I've got the Ace team here at the moment. Woohoo! Ace team and Eddie is part of the plus Ace team because Eddie's not Ace, but he's Ace for being in this stream. So yeah, lots of love to everyone. It's really nice. I feel like I'm having an asexual party here. So what was I? So, oh yeah, Space Ace is Sam, by the way, Ian, in case you didn't know. It's Sam in disguise under Space Ace, and I've completely forgotten what I was going to say now. What was I going to say? Yeah, so I was going to say, like, in a relationship, what was I going to say? I was talking about open communication being very important. I was on about, yeah, so there might be some things that the guy wants me to do in a relationship that I'm not usually into, right? Because when you're in a relationship, right, you need to be willing to do things that, as long as they're not things that are making you feel horrible, you know, you hate, but you're going to be doing some things that they're going to like, some of the interests that they're going to like with them because you love them, even if it's not really your cup of tea so much. So like I said, there might be a guy that I get with who likes a certain band, and I'm not really so into a band, but because he loves it and it makes him happy, I'll go with him to see it, right? And I'll be jumping up and down and enjoy it for him. The last thing you want to do is, if you're going to be in a relationship and going to do something with someone, is to actually, you know, like do it and then begrudgingly, right? You don't want to do that. So like when Eddie's talking about sacrificing for a relationship, you know, like you might sacrifice some of your time to go and do something it's not your favorite thing to do, but because you're doing it with that person, you love them, you're willing to do it and you put your whole effort into it. It's like, I don't like history museums really, right? But I've had an asexual meetup at the History Museum in Exeter. But once I go to do that meetup, I'm there looking at everything, because I don't believe in doing something half-heartedly. I don't believe in being there, being miserable, because there's no point. Just because I'm not really into history museums, I will go and do that for someone else because they're into it, because I like their company, because it's important to them. Do you see what I mean? Oh, Sam didn't come to that history museum. Me and Sam's got to go to the history museum when it's open again. It's something we need to do. Oh yeah, something we need to do. Yeah, because I know you love the history museum, so I will go there. That's a prime example though of something I will do. Do you know what I mean? I have to say though, a non-asexual guy years ago took me there for a first date. And I wasn't particularly happy because I'm like, it's one of the worst places you can personally take me for a self date because I'm not into history museums. And if you really, do you know what I mean? Like I said, I don't mind doing something for someone in a relationship or a meetup, but because it was the first time I met this guy, but in a way he did me a favour because he sort of started talking about the flaming sword that was under his bed, like the one in the museum. And I'm like, no, this guy's dangerous. I do not want to be with a guy who's got like swords and stuff on his bed. I've had 2 exes that did similar stuff like that. I'm like, no. They weren't good exes. I'm not going to go there. So in a way, it was the right place for me to go because I found out what the guy was really like. So yeah, Sam likes all museums. I like science museums. I do like science museums. So I do like the Bristol one. The one at Bristol's the science museum. I do like that. So I don't like history museums, but I like science museums. I like the science museum at London as well. Took loads of pictures last time I went, but I don't think I've put them all online. Maybe they're still somewhere on my iPad or something or other, somewhere on Google or something. I could get them off eventually. But yeah, so that's what I was saying about being in a relationship. It requires you to be in constant communication every single day with a person, to share your thoughts, feelings, emotions, for that person to be particularly with me, because I'm quite old-fashioned in the sense I like the guy to drive the relationship. I like him to be pursuing me, making plans to video chat with me, making plans to text me, making plans to actually come down and see me, making things happen. And like I said, having no secrets from me whatsoever, being able to lay his soul bare, because I want a soulmate, a best friend, and a life partner, not just some person who is living behind a fake shield or not telling me, not really being his true authentic self. That doesn't work for me. So, you've got to make sure that before you can get into a relationship, you're looking for these type of things, and sometimes it's very difficult to assess whether the person's right for you or not, before you get into a relationship, because you're kind of exploring things with them, but sometimes you don't know who they are truly till months later, and then you find out what they're really like. So like I said, don't start an uphill battle before you've begun. If you're the one like making all the time, energy and effort to message the person, if you're putting on all the legwork, they're not even responding to you, they're using language which they're not really bothered about you, they could find someone else. If they can find someone else, say bye-bye. Go and find someone else, be my guest, because you don't value my worth, you're not really interested in me, you're just interested in being with any person, do you know what I mean, that takes an interest in you, basically. I like a guy who's picky. I think you need to be with someone in a relationship who's choosy about who they want to be within a relationship, not who will accept anyone, but who specifically picks you out of loads of people, basically, because then you're going to know that they're going to want to be committed to you more. They're more likely to want to be committed to you because they've chosen you. Like I get offers from loads of guys, right? I could have loads of sexual guys. If I was a highly sexual girl, I'd be able to get tons and tons of guys very easily, because I have all those sexual guys constantly interested in me, constantly messaging me on Facebook, constantly, when I'm out, interested in me. And so if I was sexually inclined, then I could easily get someone, but I'm not sexually inclined. I'm not interested in that. That doesn't interest me. And the fact that loads of guys want sex really puts me off those guys, because it's like, I don't want someone who's like the masses. I want someone who's different, specifically who's very different. I don't want someone who's like everyone else. That's the whole point. I can easily get someone that's like everyone else. So I don't want that in my life, And so it's very important that when you are looking to get into a relationship, like I said, it's not an uphill battle. You shouldn't be having to push them for information. They should be offering information about themselves. So when you're looking to get into a relationship, they should be talking about themselves and sharing their life, world, and dreams with you, offering information on a platter, if you like I haven't got nothing to hide, this is me. And then they should be equally asking you questions about yourself to find out about you. If you're talking to some guy and all he's talking about is either he's talking about himself, he's not even asking you about yourself, or he's not even talking about himself, so he doesn't open up to you, you can't form a deep emotional connection with that type of guy. That type of guy is hiding something. And you don't want to be getting into a relationship with a guy who can't communicate himself, who can't communicate his feelings, his emotions, what he really wants. I can't be with a guy, for example, who won't tell me like what physical stuff he wants and what he wants emotionally and mentally and all the rest of it, you know, because it's not going to work. A relationship requires you to lay your soul bare. That's why a lot of people get so scared of them. It requires you to be so vulnerable, so open, so honest that the person can shatter your heart into a million pieces, right? Which is what happens. You know, like I said, I recently liked a British guy. I got my heart broken. It's not his fault. You know, it's just the way things are. I wasn't right for him. He's not right for me. Right. But if I'd listened in part to myself and kept that in mind when he first started saying, well, I could meet someone nearer me, I did listen to it, but then I kind of like pushed it aside more like, oh, he's into me now. But at the end of the day, if his default originally was, oh, I could meet another girl, he's not that into me, is he? He's not thinking, oh, right, well, I'm very choosy about who I'm with. The fact he even said, oh, I could be with a girl nearer me, it's like basically saying, well, I've got loads of options, I can pick who I want, so therefore he's not very choosy. Space Ace, I struck gold with my partner. So glad to be off all the dating sites. So many people are just after one thing or don't bother to make an effort. Thank you, Sam. I really appreciate that, you know, and I know, you know, I'm still in the thick of it, unfortunately. But Sam has just summed it up, you know, like so many people are either after one thing, sex, and or they don't bother to make any effort, you know. And the people that do make an effort, you know, it's not sustained either. A lot of the time it's like they'll do a few messages and then that's it, you know. If you're looking to get into a relationship with someone, you need someone who's going to make a constant time, energy, effort and emotion in the relationship constantly and consistently, month after month, year after year, right? If you want a serious long-term committed relationship, that's what I'm looking for. I'm not into one-night stands. I'm not into casual relationships. I'm not into a guy who can't show his emotions, can't tell me his thoughts, feelings, has secrets from me. I'm not into that type of guy. That guy to me is not being a true thing itself. He's hiding stuff. And I can't be with a guy who's hiding stuff because I can't ever trust him, you know? And so, you know, you need to be with someone who's happy to be themselves, is comfortable enough to share their life and world and soul bare, you know? Like, even though I talk a lot on this channel, I do keep a lot of secrets for like my friends and stuff, like, you know, like guys who, like the guy that I was close to recently, there's a lot of stuff that he told me that I would never tell people, you know? That's between me and him. But I've only shared stuff that I think, you know, is relevant to people on this channel that will help them, and stuff that's not really private, if you know what I mean, as in terms of like, I mostly share how I feel, you know. So, you know, I'm very careful about what I say because I respect people's privacy, you know. Like I said, the last British guy, he's not a bad guy, he's a really kind-hearted, lovely person. Just because it didn't work out with him and me doesn't mean to say I you know, don't think he's good. I think he's a beautiful person, which makes it harder for me. You know, if he was a horrible person, it'd be easier, you know. But, you know, that's what goes with the territory. If you're looking to get into a relationship, you're on the dating scene, you know, you have to get your heart broken. I mean, Sam's had their heart broken loads before they met their partner. I know that. I mean, they were trying for 8 years to find someone. I've been on asexual dating sites now for 6 years, and I still haven't met the right asexual guy for me. Not even come close, really. I mean, you could argue that the British guy recently was close, but not really, when obviously, like, you know, it's no go, is it? You know? And so, you know, I need to find a guy who already from the off is a committed guy, you know, wants a serious committed relationship, but wants the same type as me, which is a teenager style committed relationship, which are very difficult to get because they're kind of like a little bit contradictory terms, but not, you know, because I know someone in my old job, and he has been in a relationship with his fiance since they were like, I think 15 years old together, 15, 16. And they were in long-term relationship. And before I left my old job, he was like getting engaged to his partner. So there are people that can be in a relationship as a teenager and still be together with that person. Emily. Hi, Sandra. Oh, hello, Emily. It's nice to see you. How are you? It's lovely to see you. Space Ace. It was well worth the wait. That I don't doubt that I'm loved, and that is not something I've ever felt before. Yeah, that's really good, Sam. It's really good that you don't ever feel like you'll doubt that you're loved. You know, that's really good, you know, and that's what you need to be looking for in a relationship. You know, like I said at the beginning of this video, you know, you don't want it to be a battlefield before you've begun. So if you're trying to battle for the fact of whether this person loves you or seriously committed to you or seriously interested in you, then you know they're not the right person for you, because you shouldn't be having to convince them. You shouldn't be having someone who's unsure about how they feel about you. You shouldn't be having someone who's doubting the relationship before it's even begun. You know, you should be having someone who's showing up saying, hey, I'm really interested in a relationship. You fit pretty much most of my criteria, because you're not going to have someone who fits maybe all your criteria. You know, the majority of your criteria you feel right to be with. I want to be with you. And the good thing about Sam and their partner is they both know they're meant to be together, right? There's no unsureness, like Sam says. There's no unsure. There's no doubt that they're meant to be together. There's no there's no one else. Do you know what I mean? It's just them. And so they don't have to worry about anyone else. They can just put the time, energy, and effort into the relationship. And that's one of the beauties about actually being in a serious committed relationship. You've got one, if you're monogamous, you've got one person to think about, one person to worry about, one person to care about in that type of way, and so therefore that's much better than spreading yourself thinly when, like Sam says, they're glad to be off dating sites now. I mean, for me, it still in the dating scene, it's blooming tough. As we all know, as asexuals, it's not easy, because it's for me, if I've got a lot of love to give, yes, I can spread it around, as in Facebook saying love and hugs to all my friends. But, if you've got a big, kind heart and you want to give some love to someone, you haven't got that person specifically to give that love to. It's kind of you feel a bit crippled in that way. Emily, I'm fine, thank you. Good. It's nice to see you here. Lots of love. So, it's much better, some people are like, oh, committed to one person, they get scared of that. But actually, if you're committed to one person, they're committed to you, you both will make the relationship work. It could be absolutely friggin' fantastic, because you both feel the same way about each other. You both are secure. If you're both secure in the relationship, both sure, that you don't need to worry about, oh, if this person fancies me, if that person's right for me, and if so, I have to know though that once you're in a relationship, everyone usually wants to be with you, right? I found this out. It's a freak of nature that when Eddie's back. Hello, Eddie, again. It's kind of a freak of nature, but what happens is if you get into a relationship, you'll find that there's multiple people that then want to be in a relationship with you or interested in you romantically. Sam, that happened with me. Exactly. And I said, didn't I, Sam? Sam's space ace, by the way. I said, didn't I, that always happens usually, that when you are in a relationship with someone, everyone wants you, but when you're not in a relationship, no one kind of is interested. And usually with me it happens, I have 3 guys interested in me at once. If one guy's interested in me, another one shows up and another one shows up, and then the rest of the time it's no one's interested in a relationship with me. And it's really strange. So you've got to understand, you've got to be in a place where you are so confident in your relationship and you're so knowing what you want and so sure that when these other people come your way, you're prepared to say, hey, I'm in a relationship, I'm not interested. And if you have to ask a person that, so if I have to ask a guy, what would you say if a girl came up to you and I'm not sure, that to me is kind of a red flag that I'm even having to ask the guy that. I mean, the guy should be saying, I want you, I'm not interested in other women, and should be able to easily show me that, show me that that's the truth, because the problem for me is I do tend to be attracted to guys who maybe haven't got so much experience, who maybe are not used to female attention, and therefore I worry that once they get more female attention, because it's going to happen if they're with me, then they'll be off with them because they're not used to the female attention. So they're like, oh, I'm getting other women attention now, I'm not used to this, so maybe I've got other options. I don't want a guy like that. I need to know that a guy categorically wants me for who I am and wants me more than anyone else. Sam, I love cuddles and physical affection, but don't do physical contact outside of a relationship. If anyone adds me on social media, I make sure they know I have a partner I love before I will add them. So yes, that is a very good lesson to learn from Sam. It's one you should all pay attention to. Sam loves cuddles and physical affection, but they don't do it in a relation outside of a relationship, only in a relationship. And if anyone adds them on social media, they make sure they know I have a partner and love them before they add them. And that is really, really imperative. That you do. There's going to be people friending you left, right, and centre on Facebook, on Twitter, and all sorts of people, and a lot of people looking for relationships. I mean, you'd be surprised. Twitter is like a dating site, in case you haven't realised. People DM people on Twitter to get into a relationship or to to exchange nudes or whatever they do. I've had loads of guys approach me on Twitter, especially in the past, more than recently, and they'll DM you and go, oh, hi, how are you? Like, and they're looking for a relationship, and it's just like absolutely ridiculous that they are doing this, but they do. So you've got to understand, if you're in a relationship, you need to be like outspoken about it and say, look, I'm in a relationship with someone, and make it perfectly clear, because otherwise they'll think they have a chance with you. And there's a lot of women, I'm saying women because my experience with women, there's a lot of women, they're very crafty, right? They'll friend a guy and really want him to be in a relationship with them, and they'll do manipulative tactics, which is usually emotional stuff. It'll be like, oh, I'm so upset at the moment, I'm really, really upset. Yeah, I'm really hurt. This happened, that happened. And they'll look for the guy to comfort them. And the guy will start being really nice and sympathetic to them. And before you know it, she's wormed her way back into his affections. I'm very aware of how these women work. I've been around them all my life, unfortunately, when I was younger. So, Eddie, if you make a post on Twitter asking for a sugar daddy or sugar mummy, you will get massive DMs. Oh my God, I'm absolutely sick of sugar daddies or sugar mummies. They're on ASAP. Like, I use ASAP, right, which is an asexual dating app, right? But they unfortunately on there have loads and loads of spammers lately, and loads of people who are just fake accounts. And I keep getting the other day I got 9 fake accounts messaging me in a day. I think 4 or 5 of them were actually outspoken sugar daddies. Every day I'm getting sugar daddies approaching me, and I keep blocking them and reporting them. And every single day I get more and more every time I'm on there. It's absolutely disgusting. I get fed up with it. Sandra, that's why I'm careful who I add now that I have someone. Yeah. So Sam is very dedicated to their partner. They are very dedicated to them. They are very committed to them. And I think more people should be like Sam, because thanks for the thumbs up. Thanks for, I think Sam's got the thumbs up, really. Yeah. And it's very, very important, very, very important that you make things clear. I see a lot of guys, right? I've even been into Aldi, right? My local supermarket. And I did a thumbs up ages ago. I meant the thumbs up, Sam's probably for you. Because you're talking in the chat and saying some good stuff, but thanks for the thumbs up. I'm really glad. But yeah. So what was I saying? Yeah. So in my local supermarket, there's loads of foreign guys actually in there. I'm completely put off now by what I was saying. So yeah, I've forgotten what I was going to say now, but I was talking about my local supermarket. It does have a lot of foreign guys in it. I was talking. Oh yeah, that's right. So I met this in the supermarket where I go to, right? Customer. There was an Indian guy in there, right? I got talking to him. I didn't realize he had a girlfriend. He never said, right? So I was talking to him. I asked him out for a drink. If he's asked him roughly, does he live near here? And I said about going out for a drink sometime when things are better, like we're not having to do lockdown stuff or anything. And he said, yeah, okay, and took my card, right? And then the next time I saw him Aldi was with a woman, which was clearly his partner. To me, that is so wrong. It's like, if you've got a partner, you should be saying to people that approach you like that. So that guy should have said to me, look, I've got a partner. He should have started talking to about her straight away to me. Because that's a committed good guy. Would be like, hey, when I see my partner next, you should automatically start talking about your partner, saying, when I see my partner next, my partner makes me do this, it feels great, my partner makes me feel so good, I love my partner. And you should just be talking about your partner a lot, so it's kind of like putting distance between you and the other person, right? But yeah, Sam's the best. So yeah. But yeah, so I think it's really important to have that, it's important, because I've met some asexual guys and they just don't do that as well. But there's a lot of sexual guys that don't, but there was one guy in my supermarket and he did bring his partner up straight away and said, oh yeah, my partner likes this, or this is for my partner. And then I'm like, oh, okay, that's great. And off I go. Because the thing is, when you're single like me, I don't know what guys are single and what guys aren't. If they're in a supermarket by themselves, they're more likely to be single because they're by themselves. But just because they're by themselves doesn't mean to say they're single, because they might be doing the shopping for the household, or they might just be on their own but not live with their partner, right? So you know, if you're a good person and you're in a relationship with someone, you should be telling everyone, right? There should be no shame that you're in the relationship with that person. You should be sharing it from the rooftops. If not, my question to you is why are you even with the person? Do you know what I mean? You should be publicly saying that you're in a relationship with them. You should be like making it obvious that you're with someone. You should be very careful about, like Sam is, of who you let into your circle, you know? Like, you know, like if I've got a guy who I know's like got connected to an ex-girlfriend, I personally wouldn't like that. I'd be like, why are you even connected to your ex for? Space Ace. I talk about my partner lots because they make me feel partner. Sorry, made a mistake. I said partners. Sam only has one partner and it's very monogamous. I talk about my partner lots because they make me feel amazing thinking about them. Yeah, that's what's good, you know, and that's the way it should be. It shouldn't be, like I said at the beginning of this video, it shouldn't be a battlefield before you've even started a relationship. You know, you shouldn't have to battle for their attention. You shouldn't have to battle for their affection. You shouldn't have to battle for their doubts. The person who's with you should know categorically you're the right person for them to be in a relationship with. They love you implicitly. They want to make time for you. They want to spend time with you. They want to see you. They want to be making plans with you for the future. They want to be actively bringing you two together. Do you know what I mean? And you know, and the person should be making you feel really, really awesome, and like they want the relationship to happen. They look forward to seeing you. They're excited to be with you, and they should also be protecting that relationship by making sure there's other people that are not going to come into it and disrupt it and cause issues, right? I don't want a guy who's like, you know, really pally with his ex. I don't mind a guy having some female friends, right? But I wouldn't be happy if a guy was still best friends with his ex. Personally, for me, that wouldn't really work because it'd be kind of like, well, they're your ex, right? They're your ex for a reason. And I personally wouldn't feel comfortable about that because I don't like that type of thing, you know? And so, you know, for me personally, it wouldn't work. I need a guy who's totally dedicated and faithful to me and knows that other women are fine as friends, but with a distance, you know. I don't want a guy who I'm in a relationship with to go around cuddling as friends, which is something else I brought up before, you know. Like, I can't be in a relationship with a guy who goes around cuddling his friends. To me, that is completely off limits. If he's going to have friends, that's fine, but there should be boundaries, physical boundaries. Like, you do not go cuddling, you do not go touching certain places. You know, that's reserved for an intimate relationship because cuddling's very intimate, right? That's intimacy. I know there's some asexuals that do cuddle their friends, and so I do realize that. But you know, that type of asexual would not be the right type for me to be in. I need to be with a guy who I can categorically trust in that way, that doesn't cuddle his friends. That's very strict boundaries. So I know that when he's with his female friends, I can totally trust him and I don't have to worry about that. It's like, well, you've got female friends, I've got male friends. I'm boundary driven. They've got the same boundaries as me. That's why I get on really well with Sam as well as best friends, because we're very, very boundary driven. With me and Sam's both got the same boundaries, you know, and so as friends it works really well as well because we've both got the same boundaries whilst being best friends. We've both got the same feelings about, you know, being in a relationship with a person. So Sam is very dedicated to their person. They're very committed to them. They're very giving lots of time to them, and I would be the same when I found my right guy for me to be in a relationship with. My person's going to be a guy because I'm not interested in any other gender, right? So you know, Sam and me are very, very similar like that, and so that helps the friendship as well because we have the same boundaries in a friendship and same boundaries in a relationship. We know where we stand with each other. We're very comfortably close, but in a boundary-driven way. Close, but not close as in a bad way. Close as in a best friend way, but with boundaries completely separate. Do you know what I mean? So that we're clearly that we're romantically inclined towards another person. Do you know what I mean? I haven't found my person yet. They found theirs while still being best friends. Do you know what I mean? So we're close in a good way, but boundary driven. That's like, this is definitely friendship, not like crossing over that. Do you know what I mean? And so that's what makes our friendship very, very comfortable, very, very healthy as well. You know, I was actually saying earlier, before Sam came on the stream, how happy I was that they're my friend and they're always checking in with me to see if I'm okay. You know, we speak most days in message, so that really makes me feel good. You know, and that's what you want. You know, you want someone as a friend as well, because I was saying, a lot of the stuff I'm saying about relationships, you can apply a lot of these principles to friendship. You don't want to be getting into a friendship where it's a battlefield, where you're having to battle for their attention, you're having to do all the work, the time, put time, energy, and effort into them, and they're not doing that with you. With me and Sam, we do it equally, right? I think we're both very good like this at keeping in touch with each other, really caring about each other from a best friendship way, but letting each other have space to do our own thing as well. I think we're very comfortable around each other like that, so that's what makes the friendship really, really good as well. And so, it's really important that you don't want to be having a battlefield with a friendship where, like, I think me and Sam were both like this in the past, where we're having to put all the time, energy, and effort into a friendship, and that person's not really responding that much, or really wanting the friendship like that, and not really progressing it, and keeping it and maintaining and sustaining it. Because I have a to have a close relationship, I've said that you've got to be persistent, consistent, and put time, energy, and effort in. Both people need to do that, and this is the same with a friendship. You need to put time, energy, and effort in both of you need to do that to maintain and sustain it, and to keep that connection as a friendship connection going. It's very important, because if you keep a connection going as a friendship connection, then you remain close to that person as a best friend. Whereas if you don't, it feels very distant and disconnected, and that's not nice. So me and Sam, I feel, has got a very good balance of that now, so we really trust each other as best friends. Way too many times in the past with relationships and friendships. Yeah, you're the same as me, and I'm glad you found a really good person for you now. Like I said, I'm still on the lookout for my special someone, but one day I'll find them. And I think that's the thing, when you find someone finally, if you've tried to search for years and years and years, you then feel very grateful and thankful for that person in your life, because you're like, my God, I know there's tons of people out there that aren't the right person for me. This person's shown up, and I feel so connected to them, so in love with them, so cared for, so loved for, that they are the right person for me. It makes it all the more special when you meet them. Kind of the heartache and pain does make that relationship a lot more special. And so I do look forward to that, So I've probably still got to go through a lot more heartache and pain before I meet the right person or something. It would be nice if the right guy showed up for me, It would be nice. I'd like it. I think I deserve it, And so, it's very, very important that, that with anything in life, that you aren't trying to kind of push someone to being your friend, or push someone to being in a relationship with you, that you're kind of like, not, that you're not having to do that, that someone's like should be really welcoming you, really wanting you, really excited to see you, really wanting to drive miles to be with you, really looking forward to chatting to you on video and audio calling you, really loving like messaging you, really loving being in your life with you, really loving sharing. Because like relationships, even without physical stuff, even without the sexual stuff, obviously if you're asexual, you're not really into sexual stuff unless you're on the more sexual end of the spectrum. But intimacy is about sharing secrets, thoughts, feelings, emotions with each other. So even if you're not like doing any physical stuff, there's a great degree of intimacy needed in a relationship to maintain and sustain it. For me, I can't be with a guy who wouldn't want to be consistently committed and in touch with me every single day, and wanting to speak to me every day, wanting to message me every day, wanting to be in my life. I couldn't be with a guy who wanted less than that, because it's like, why? I mean, mostly me and Sam message each other nearly every day, and in terms of an actual relationship, I wouldn't want anything less. Sam, I travel 2+ hours each way to see my partner. Yeah, see, Sam puts in the time, energy, and effort to see their partner 2+ hours each way. Last time it was over for 4 hours, wasn't it, Sam? Because of the public transport. So Sam has no problem traveling 2+ hours each way to see their partner, because they know it's worth it. And their partner messages me sometimes, because we're friends as well. And they message me that I'm excited for Sam coming to see me, so they're as excited as Sam is to see them, because they're always trying to like progress the relationship forward as well, which is nice. Sam, yeah, cancellations and stuff, I got to see them and spend time with them, so all worth it. Yeah, that is what true love and dedication is. True love, dedication, and wanting to be with that person is all about being excited to see them. It's like thinking, oh my God, well, I might have to be on public transport for 2 hours, but worth it, because they're like my golden rainbow at the end of the rain, if you like. You know what I mean? And so, when someone values your worth, Sam values their partner's worth so much that they are happy to go and see them. They want to go and see them. They're excited to go and see them. So, they value their partner's worth. They appreciate their partner. They are grateful and thankful for their partner being alive. That is a good, healthy relationship. And because I know Sam's partner feels the same way about them, that they're both wanting to see each other. They're both wanting to spend time with each other. They're both excited to be together. And that's the way it should be. Sam, I know they value me just as much as they show me all the time. Yeah, that's the way it should be, So if you're listening to this now, do listen to Sam, because it's very important, that that you value the person in front of you, that when you finally get to be in a relationship with another beautiful asexual person, which is more rare, then obviously Eddie's with an asexual person. Eddie's not asexual themselves, but they really highly value their asexual girl they've been in a relationship with 3 years and 6 days time. Happy anniversary to you again. Then it's very important that you constantly show them that you're grateful, you're happy to be in their life, you're happy they're in your life, you really feel like they're precious to you, because what tends to happen when you've been in a relationship for a long time is you tend to like stop valuing the person or take each other for granted or expect things that weren't there before, and that's not so good. Happy almost anniversary, Eddie. Yeah. So it's really important, like Sam's willing to travel and wants to travel to see them because the prize, the prize is seeing their partner, and so you need that level of enthusiasm, because that's the only way you're going to maintain and sustain like a long distance relationship, because like I've said, most asexual relationships are going to start off long distance, because most likely you're not going to find a suitable asexual in your city or town or living near you. I have asexuals near me, but they aren't suitable for a romantic relationship with me. None of them are. We want different things, right? We're not like, well, one of them's female for a start. I'm not interested in females. Another guy, he's actually interested in now just in men. Another guy who's too old for me and we haven't got anything common. Another guy actually is with his asexual fiance. He's an older guy into younger girls. I'm a younger girl into younger guys. Well, I am really young, obviously. And I'm an older birth certificate age girl with but really a younger girl into younger guys. And so and there's other guys I've seen on asexual dating sites, but just none of them are suitable. They're just not. So I haven't met the right asexual guy at all for me yet. I'm really looking forward to meeting the right person, really looking forward to it. Like I said lately, I've had a bit of upset with someone who wasn't right for me that I thought possibly could be, but that means that it's going to be even more special when the right guy does come along, and you do need to, like I said, watch out for red flags of barriers to entry to a relationship. So if the person's unsure about if they want to be with you, if they're giving you the impression that maybe you're not the right type of person for them, these are all red flags of barriers to entry. You don't want any barriers to entry. You don't want people putting up walls and obstacles of reasons not to be in a relationship with you straight away. If they're doing that, they're not the right person for you. There shouldn't be any obstacles in the way, especially not when you're first getting to know someone. If they're putting already obstacles like, I'm not sure you're the right person for me, I'm not sure that it would work out, I'm not sure that you're right for me, I'm not sure. If they're not sure, then leave them alone to be unsure. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can't make their mind up for them. They need to make it up for themselves, And so it shouldn't be like that. It should be like Sam's got, a loving, caring, committed relationship where both people want to be in a relationship. Both people are excited to see each other. Both people want to make the time, energy, and effort. One person at least is willing to travel to the other person to see them, be with them. One person eventually will need to move to live near that person, if not with that person, depending on where you want to live with each other or live separately. I prefer to live separately, and it is a sacrifice. Like, my best female friend left all her friends behind where she lives. She's still friends with me and her friends, but she left all her friend living near her friends behind to go with the man she's with now. She's been with the guy a year now. They moved in together very quickly. She moved in to live with him, but she left all her friends and life behind to move to be with him. You know, that's a huge sacrifice on her part, a huge sacrifice. You know, it took her a while to adjust to that, but she wanted to be with him. So, and she didn't want to beat around the bush, you know, because she met some guys that weren't suitable, and she felt this guy was really the right guy for her. And it turns out he is the right guy for her. So she made a really good judgment call there, because everyone kind of thought, oh, like, it's a bit soon. But, you know, sometimes soon works out well. You know, like, there's a lot of people that say, oh, don't get into a relationship quickly. And I do think that's good advice. But there are instances when it can work out better and work out well. You know, like my mum, her dad and her mum aren't on planet Earth anymore, but her dad married her mum, I think, within 3 months of meeting her. And they were together, it was till death do us part. So yeah, that's like you know, that's like something that people warn people about you should never do. But, you know, after 3 months, that was kind of it, really. So it's very interesting, isn't it? You know, so, you know, I think it's better to be with someone for quite a while before marriage. But and personally, I don't want to get married. But, you know, like, for me, I don't like being in no man's land. I don't like being in the grey area of, like, being in a relationship but not being in a relationship. Do you know what I mean? So I find that very difficult. For me, it's kind of like an all or nothing thing. Sam, I'm not into dating long term. I prefer to be committed or move on, just how I am. Not into marriage or living together. You're the same as me, Sam, aren't you? Not into dating long term. I prefer to be in committed relationship or move on. No, and I'm not into marriage or living together either, you know. And so yeah, we're very the same, me and Sam, on that, as best friends, you know. So yeah, I mean, I find it very difficult, the dating scene, because for me it's just like, I don't like the idea of a guy going around like with loads of women, and I like to know where I stand. I find the grey area very, very difficult. For me, it's like I'm with someone or I'm not with them. Don't pretend to be with me when you're not. Don't act like you're with me when you're not, because you're getting benefits then of being like acting like you're in a relationship with me when you're not. And that is not fair. And I'm emotionally attached then. It's not good for me, you know? And it's insecure. It's just breeds insecurity. I hate it. So for me, it's very difficult, because I think, you know, there's benefits of dating, as in that you're not jumping in with a person in case you meet the wrong person, and, you know, and you can get to know them over a period of time. But for me, it's just kind of like, in a way, I'd rather get to know them as a friend first, rather than dating them. But then, you know, it goes from friends sometimes to like you're dating to like possible relationship, and then it blurs all the boundaries, and it's just so confusing and so like grey. And I just don't do grey areas. I have grey areas with my asexuality. That's what really is very difficult for me, because I have the grey area of kissing, which is quite sexual behaviour despite experiencing no sexual attraction. And so that really is very difficult for me. It's kind of like you're grey in your sexuality, which is asexuality, Sandra, but you're not grey in anything else. Like, I like black and white stuff. It's either I'm in a relationship with a guy or I'm not. Don't pretend or act like I am. Either be in it or don't bother. And like Sam says, it's time for me to move on, you know? I don't want a friends with benefits relationship, even if it's an asexual friends with benefits. I'm not interested in that, right? The guy doesn't get deep emotional connection with me consistently, persistently, me putting time, energy, and effort into him when he's not actually going to commit to me. Because that means I'm then tied to that guy and not free to be with another guy who can give me what I want, which is commitment, love, respect, loyalty, wanting to see me, wanting to spend time with me, wanting to be in my life forever, you know? And so, you know, don't tie yourself down to someone who's not prepared to commit to you, because it's just no go. You know, like Sam says, it's better to move on. And it's exactly how I am, really. I don't really do the dating thing very easy. You know, I do obviously do some dating stuff in some ways, but not really that much, because it's just like, I prefer actually a serious committed relationship. And I just like, I think a lot of the time dating's a waste of space, a waste of time. But it's kind of like, I find it really difficult to do the dating thing, because it's like, well, I don't want to kiss this guy because it's getting a bit intimate. And two, it's like, who else is he kissing? You know, it's like there's so much insecurity there. For me, there's no security. You know, I need to know that guy's really into me. He's not interested in other women. If other women come his way, he's going to be like, no, I just want Sandra. I'm really not interested in you. You can say what you like, you can do what you like, but I'm not interested, and I will basically not have you near my lips, not have you near my body. You know what I mean? And that's why I need a guy to be here. So I really need a really strong guy for me. I haven't met a strong asexual guy that's really into me yet. I just haven't. You know, I tend to get attracted to guys who've got feminine qualities. And I'm quite happy for a guy to have some feminine traits, but I need him to be really, really strong as well. Like really, really boundary driven and strong as well. And unfortunately, I just don't get that. The guys that I'm interested in tend to be too feminine, as in not boundary driven, as in not really know what they want, as in not really pursuing, not really making things happen. You know, non-committal as well. It's just like kind of like, it's just like it's too wishy-washy, you know. Like I'm very, like, I have some male traits and that I'm proud of, you know. My male traits are things that I know my own mind, I know what I want, I'm very driven, I take action, I want to get things done. To me, it's like, you know, if I think there's a guy that might be suitable for relationships, it's like, let's get on a video call, let's schedule a video call in, or let's just do it. Let's just meet. Let's just talk and see if we're compatible, because I don't want to waste my frigging time for another 5 days thinking about you when I could be moving on if you're just going to be completely wrong person, wrong fit for me. You know, it's just better to move on. I spend 5 hours video chatting with you, know whether you're possibly right for me to be in a relationship or not, and just move on. You know, I don't want to waste my time. You know, I don't want to waste theirs. And I think if you're really keen on someone, why not just make it happen? So many people in life waste time. Time is the most precious thing you have. You know, why waste time? Why waste 3, 4, 5 weeks, months of your life when you could have just video chatted with the person and decided whether you're suitable possibly for a relationship or not with them? Sam, the same as me. Yeah. You know, I'm like, just make it happen with like male traits, if you like. I'm a person who likes to make it happen. I say I'll do something, I do it. I don't say I'm going to do something like, oh, but I'm going to video chat with you, but I don't know when. Yeah, sometime. Like, that is too vague. That is too wishy-washy. That's not taking action. That's just like saying stuff. I wrote a Facebook post recently, and it was all about, you have to listen to the person's actions and words, and they both have to be in alignment, right? You want a person whose actions and words go together. So you don't just view the action, because a lot of people say, oh, actions speak louder than words. But you want the actions and words to be coherent with each other and to speak the same language, right? So if a guy is saying, I don't really care about you, but then their actions are saying otherwise, that they're actually, you know, like messaging you loads, wanting to talk to you loads, clearly that would be like they care about you. But do they care about you? Because if they're saying they don't care about you, yet they're messaging you loads, clearly something's up with them. And it might not be they care about you, just that they want to message you because they've got a bit obsessed with you, or they need someone to talk to, or they're bored, or they're lonely, right? So if someone says, I really want you in my life, but yet they don't message you for days, they're not really asking you any questions about yourself, they're not taking an interest in you, the actions don't match the words. The words and the actions have to be coherent together. Both of them have to be conclusively the same. Sam, I just don't like ambiguity when it comes to relationships. I'm exactly the same, Sam. And as you know, with the British guy that I had to like say goodbye to recently and go from their life, you know, there was so much ambiguity going on. But in the end, they said that they couldn't commit, so that was good. And then I'm like, well, I've got to go then, basically. You know, there's no point in me hanging around, is there really? You know, that's it. You know, so. You know what I mean? I don't like ambiguity either. I like to know that a person's really into me, really wants me to be with them, really is going to put the time, energy, and effort in, knows what wants, fosters security within me, within the relationship. And, you know, none of this, oh, well, I might want to be with you, I might not. Oh, some days I like you, some days I don't. Some days I might want to be with you, some days I think about being with you, other times I don't. It's like, there's going to be a guy out there who's not going to be this wishy-washy guy. There's going to be a guy out there for me who's very, very strong, who knows his own mind, who likes an older girl, but knows what that entails, right? It means he's got to look after her. Like, he doesn't have to look after me in terms of like, I got my own place, I can take care of myself. But in terms of like holding my heart in his hand and looking after it and loving me and caring about me and driving to see me and video chatting with me and messaging me and sharing his life and day and world with me and catching up with me how my day's gone and like looking to move to live near me and looking to be with me, and a confident guy in that way, who's secure in himself, who knows what he wants and not wishy-washy. There is so many guys who just don't know what the frigging heck they want. They haven't really thought about it. They're shoving themselves on dating sites and they're like, oh, well, I didn't really think you'd be interested in me. It's like, well, you're on a dating site. I'm talking to you. What else do you think I'm interested in? Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm surely interested. I mean, there's a couple of guys I talk to that I met on dating sites that I just friends with them, but we've established that, right? We've established early on. One of them is both of them are part Indian, actually. One of them, we can't be in a relationship. We're completely incompatible. We're very different in lots of ways, which actually helps me being friends with them because, I can't really be that attracted to them because we haven't got much in common, right? But we still chat about different things to each other, and they're still a lovely person. They're a lovely guy, and that's kind of the reason I like them in my life, because they are a lovely guy. They are part Indian, so of course I get on well with them, and they're interesting, and they will come and meet me one day in person. They've categorically said that, and I have met them on video camera, and they're in the last meetup, so that's good. Sam, you shouldn't wonder whether the person is genuinely interested and committed. My partner now is the first time I have been with someone that I don't constantly feel myself questioning that. Yeah, you shouldn't wonder whether the person is genuinely interested and committed. My partner now is the first time I have been with someone that I don't constantly feel myself questioning that. That's really good. That's how you know you've got the right partner, isn't it, Sam? You've got the right partner. I haven't met the right guy for me yet. Categorically, definitely based on that, I haven't. I just haven't. And so, like, for me, I get a lot of guys fantasizing about me, but I'm not their reality. Sam, definitely, and you will. Thank you. Yeah, I definitely haven't met the right guy for me at all. Like, far from it. I keep thinking I'm close, but I'm not really close, am I at all? Not really close at all to meeting the right person. But, maybe I just have to do other stuff in my life for a while. But, I miss kissing, and I do miss having that person there and messaging and chatting and being in my life daily. I do miss that, in terms of relationship stuff. I do miss that, miss cuddling them and chatting to them and being there for each other. And, but I need to find a guy who can hold my heart in his hand and keep it precious. You know what I mean? Like I would do with his, I really need that, and someone who's really into me. There's so many guys who are just distracted by other things, who are not that into me, and just clearly they're not the right guy for me, are they? But it's just very important to find someone who's really into you from the beginning, who's categorically like not even interested in other women. For me, or other people, they could be biromantic for all I know. So Space says cuddling is the best medicine. Yeah, I do miss it's really weird because although I'm into kissing, I do think about cuddling as well. Like I think about hanging out with the person, like taking walks with them, just chatting to them as well. Sam, I deleted all my dating profiles as soon as we started talking. Yeah, I think they did a lot of the same thing, didn't they? They started deleting a lot of their stuff as well. So that's why you knew they were the right person, committed from the beginning, and that's what I need. I need a guy who's loyal and committed to me, who's dedicated to me, who's willing to put the time, energy, and effort in. And it's I don't understand why there are so many asexuals on dating sites that are really not serious about dating. They're not even serious about being in a relationship. It's like, why are you even on there? But it's same with asexual dating groups. It's like, why are you even in the dating group? Just to chat. It's like, are you not even interested in getting a serious committed relationship? At the end of the day, like if you're romantic, particularly in nature, like a lot of us romantics really do want to be in a relationship. And if you want to be in a relationship, you need to seek that out, specifically seek it out, because there's a lot of areas of your life, relationships being one, that you should be focused on. Obviously, if you're aromantic, you're not interested in a relationship, just a friendship type of relationship, which is the most important type of relationship to you, because I shouldn't use the word just, because the most important time, then you need to go after that. You need to be making the platonic friendship, or if you want to get into a QPR, that as a real priority. But like, a relationship is something that's very fundamental to a lot of people, and it's a big part of your life. And so you need to make sure that you're aiming in the right direction to get it right, and that you are, you're not burying your head in the sand thinking, oh right, like if you deep down want a relationship, but like, you haven't even been focusing on that for the last 10 years, and you're just dithering because you're afraid of getting hurt. You need to make that a real priority. Like, I do make a priority to find a relationship for me, even though I love being single. Because for me, I look at things long term, and I think, Sandra, like, I am really young. There's a lot of stuff I want to do in my life, but I would still like to share that with someone. And I still know that it's going to take me a long time to find someone for a relationship. So the sooner I get started, the better. If you know what I mean. I've started 2014, 6 years later, still not found the right asexual guy. But do you know what I mean? It's a very important thing in my life. That's why, like, if some guys are like wishy-washy and don't know what the hell they want, I'm like, well, I know what I want. I need to move on, because you're clearly not it, because you can't make up your mind and you're faffing around. That isn't a strong guy for me. That's a weak guy. That's someone who just string me along, or play with my emotions, or inadvertently hurt me, like, not meaning to. Because if they don't know what the hell they want, then they're not going to want me, because they're not going to understand that I'm the right person for them, because they're not going to think I'm the right person for them, and clearly they're not going to be the right person for me. So I think it's very, very important that when you are actually looking to get into a relationship, you are serious about it, and you're categorically thinking, like, what would a long-term relationship look like? Like, if they showed up in my life now, what would my ideal person look like? What type of hobbies and interests would they have ideally? How would the relationship work? How would we see each other? How would we live near each other? How would we live together? Would we not? Like, what long-term goals should we be striving for together? All this type of thing should be thought of before. Anyway, I think I'm going to leave the stream there, because I've gone over 2.25 hours now. And it's been an absolute pleasure to chat with you tonight. I want to say thanks to everyone that's been in chat. There's been quite a few people in chat tonight. So yeah, I want to say thank you so much. Lots of love to Eddie and Emily and Sam, obviously, and Ian. I think that's pretty much all of you. And Richard, yes. I want to say thank you so much to all of you that's been in the chat. I really, really appreciate you being here. I hope you've enjoyed the stream. Do not accept second best. If someone does not know they want to be in a relationship with you, then they're not right for you to be in a relationship with them. They're not right for you. Move on. Do not go into the battlefield, because you don't want to be battling in your life. You want to be excited, happy, fulfilled, and know that that person knows that you're the person for them. And so, yeah, I love you and leave you there. Thank you so much, everyone who's been in chat tonight. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. As always, if you haven't already given this video a thumbs up, please give it a thumbs up. Share it if you think anyone will benefit from the content. Don't forget to write in the comments below under this video if you're watching it on after it's streamed, or you've got more things you want to say, pop them down in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the bell icon. So it's only when you hit the bell icon that you get notified instantly of when I go live. Sam says bye to everyone. Radical, including my friend Eddie. I felt like, of course, you, Sandra. Catch you later. Okay, lots of love, everyone. Take care. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining me. Take care. Bye. Brace your quirky and each other's. Bye bye.